Asheville and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. Big day for the Jets. Rookies and veterans reported for training camp. Expectations sky high this season for New York after acquiring quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The four-time NFL MVPs made it clear he came to the Jets to win and win now. ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini.
He's taken complete ownership. He knows that he's got to get these guys all on the same page. It's his offense, and he's trying to get everyone on board. So, if there's pressure, I haven't seen it. Of course, it's only July, so we're not going to see it this early. But I think he's all into this, and he's got something to prove to the Packers and probably the rest of the NFL as well.
Rich Cimini on ESPN Radio Mornings. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting. Six-time Pro Bowl guard and team captain Zack Martin's considering not reporting to training camp. Unhappy with his contract, believes he's woefully underpaid relative to the market.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GREEN. That's green. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Green, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy for this Wednesday edition here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy, of course, heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, and you can see us live in the Ingles studio on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Join us in the chat. Also, in the description of the video is the links to the, or are the links, I guess I should say. I want to start out grammatically correct. The links to the Beer City's Ultimate Fantasy Draft Experience contest.
Which, in turn, is also Battle for the Belt. That is explained in the description. I had several people ask me that on the social medias yesterday.
Indeed. Also, your access to the Mullet Man and the Canadan Fantasy Football preview.
If you have been historically bad at fantasy football, I'm going to give you a theory to at least try.
That's me.
Tank is raising his hand actively. If you're that guy that basically is just giving your money to your league every year,
100%.
I can't tell you that I'm going to help you win it. I will tell you that if you follow one of the sheets in this draft kit, you will, at the very least, be better than you have been in the past.
All right, there you go. So, guaranteed improvement if you follow the directions, according to the Mullet Man.
Well, you can't.
The Canadan may have something to say about that. I can't wait to see what David Smith of Armchair Commentary has to add to the Bible here.
Well, we are conspiring the worksheet together. So this is a combination of two things that we have done in a very easy-to-use little worksheet.
Very good. Today is Hump Day. Although for us it's a little bit more than that because we don't have a show tomorrow.
No, we do not have a show tomorrow. We were preempted by the Braves, and Tank is struggling with computer things.
Of course, as I always do.
Yeah, if you leave the sound on, if you wait for the delay, eventually it will catch up.
Eventually. Anyway.
Tank didn't eat food today, so I'm not really sure what to expect out of him.
Right, I was just like going around like, is there just anything with some substance that I could throw in my face 10 seconds before we went on air here? And I got a stale donut, so that
donut wasn't stale. It was fine.
100%.
Oh, you got the wrong one. I had a Homer Simpson donut, and it was divine.
I didn't get that lucky. I got the one that apparently had been left out on the counter for 6 days, and it wasn't great. But here we are. It's fuel.
It
Let's
was sustenance.
It was something.
It's another thing I learned on jury duty. It is sustenance, not substance.
It's one of those things. You ever have one of those days where you're busy doing other stuff and you never think about it, and then all of a sudden you just go, oh crap, I got to have something to eat right now.
No, I've never done that. When I was in school, my favorite period of the day was lunch. Second favorite was recess.
Yeah, just walking back into the studio, and I looked at Jeremy and went, oh yeah, I didn't eat today. I should probably do that before I pass out on the air. So we welcome everybody into the program here. Hopefully you are well fed. You're well energized for the next 3 hours of Beer City's best sports talk here on ESPN Asheville. We're going to continue our fantasy football discussions. The daily drafts will continue with fantasy football themes. Today we'll talk about sleepers.
The New York Jets have reported to training camp, which means your 2023 Super Bowl champions have officially gotten into the building. It worked once.
I love it.
It worked once.
I like your passion.
I might as well try it again.
I like your passion. I like your loyalty to your team. It's just... I don't know if you want to go that far with this team.
I'm just throwing this out there. Who is your sitting NBA champion? Who said
you realize it took 3 years for that to happen, and you don't have 3 years.
I might have 3 years.
Maybe. There's an outside chance you'll have 3 years.
Here's the thing. How much worse could it be than it's been for the last 12? Gonna shake it up a little bit.
Right. Notorious B.I.G., thank you for weighing in on the YouTube comments. He says, I look like Kirby today. I do have a very rosy hue to my skin today for some reason. I was not out, lounging by the pool yesterday to get sunburned. I'm trying to already move into the brother love role.
Well, you are a little red, but you're a little red, period. I'm actually looking at you. So that's... Now, your shirt, it looks like one of those, you remember those paintings we used to get when we were kids, where it's like, if you stare through it, you can see a 3D image. That looks like what you're wearing.
Yes.
Horizontal stripes and cameras don't like each other.
Well, I mean, I'm wearing my best golf shirt today because it's the Open Championship this weekend.
And, for those of you that have listened to this for a long time, you know that Jeremy almost won the Millie Maker on DraftKings at the Open Championship a few years ago. Finished 19th.
Something like that.
I was second going into the final day, and I got burned by he who shall not be named. But bangers for the for the Open Championship coming at the end of the hour, and it might be time for us to have a come-together moment.
Yeah.
This is the 5-year anniversary of me almost winning the millionaire. And I feel like it might be time for he who shall not be named and I to...
Okay, all right. It's going to trying to exorcise the demons there from your millionaire loss. We shall see. His best bets for the U.S., or not the U.S. Open, not the British Open. It's
the Open Championship.
Open Championship.
Royal Liverpool.
Hour.
If you're an insomniac like me, you might be able to see this thing actually tee off at 1:07 this morning.
Yep. We have a lot of talk going on about fantasy football because the season's right around the corner. Your drafts are coming up really, really soon. And as we talk about this, and when you look at players in the league, sometimes you can get caught up in a guy's fantasy ability as opposed to his actual ability. Maybe good for your fantasy team, but maybe not that good of an actual player on the field. And that's where we wanted to open today because Jeremy you were upset to see that somebody dared say that Jalen Hurts was underrated?
Well, it was Kimberly A. Martin, who does great work for the mothership, which we're happy members of. But she also said Jalen Hurts was the most undervalued player in the NFL, and after I stopped laughing, I went, oh, good Lord, you're serious. And to me, I heard this, then I heard Colin Cowherd rant for 45 minutes about Justin Fields saying he's one of the 5 best rushing quarterbacks of all time, which is, incredibly stupid. But I kind of see where he's coming from. I've long had a theory that if you want me to tell you what guys are overvalued, what guys are undervalued, just look at how good they are in fantasy football. Justin Fields is an elite fantasy football player.
Mm-hmm.
He is not an elite NFL quarterback. And people get skewed on those two things really, really easily. Now, how do I translate that to Jalen Hurts? ESPN just did they've been going through the process of ranking every position in the NFL. It's their top 10. They talk to front office people and people like us and a slew of other people to get these rankings right. Where did Jalen Hurts fit into the quarterback list?
In the top 10?
He was 6.
Really?
Yes. He was behind the 3 that you would assume, which are Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers was 4. Justin Herbert was 5. I have absolutely no qualm with that list.
Okay.
If anything, you may have him too high. If we're just talking about quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think this is getting skewed is he is tremendous in fantasy football. He led a phenomenal Philadelphia Eagle team to a phenomenal season. And guess what? He's going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being totally honest with yourself, would you take him over any of the other 5 quarterbacks I just said to win you one game this year?
No.
No. And I could make the argument you would take a few other guys ahead of him.
Okay. So if it came down to it, who would you rather have? Would you rather have – who's your example? Who's lower than that?
That's not on that list?
Yeah, who's lower than that you would take over Jalen Hurts to win you a ball game?
If Lamar Jackson played for the Philadelphia Eagles, I would like them better than I like them with Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts played for the Baltimore Ravens, I would tell you they had absolutely no shot in the AFC. That tells me everything I need to know about the two. Is Jalen a great leader? Absolutely. Did we all undervalue him when he went in the second round? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot of things that are difficult to game plan for, and I think he is a phenomenal leader. Do I think he is a phenomenal quarterback? No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I don't think he is the elite of the elite. And to say he's the most undervalued player in the league is insanity to me.
well, I agree with that. I don't think I would say at this point in his career, after last year, if anything, he's overrated. Because we don't know. We don't have the, and I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying he's definitely not underrated. I haven't seen one person talk about Jalen Hurts this year as if he's not that top 6, top 5 quarterback.
And to me, he fits in somewhere, but 6 is fine. I don't have a qualm with that per se. I also don't have a qualm with the guy that didn't have him in the top 10. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with the latter, but I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a guy that threw 460 passes last year. Am I really going to put that in the same breath with the Burrows, with the Mahomes, with the Josh Allens?
I don't think you should, and I don't think you should be expected to.
And that's my fear. I don't know that you will ever see better out of Jalen Hurts than what you saw out of him last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was roughly math. Me and math don't always get along. He's slightly above a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But is he going to be better than that? I mean, he threw for 3,700 yards last year, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Do I think any of those numbers are going to be higher this year than they were last year?
I think there's a chance.
I don't.
I think there's a chance that he throws for more than he did last year. I mean,
so how does that happen?
What do you mean?
How does that happen? You're in the NFC. You're in the same boat you were in last year, that you are just head and shoulders better than damn near everybody you come in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it change?
Safety, for health reasons. You don't want him out there running that much if you don't have to. And I think, there's a chance that he throws a little bit more than that. I'm not saying is he ever going to be the 35-ish passing touchdown quarterback that these other guys can be? No.
Well, I'm glad
he does have another wrinkle to his game.
I'm glad you said that about rushing. How many times did he rush the ball last year? He played 15 games. How many rushing attempts do you have?
I'd probably say it was a good 12, 15 per game.
Okay, 12 per game in 15 games, and this is soft math, would be 180.
Okay.
You're too high.
Too high?
He rushes roughly 11 times a game. You're telling me that's going to get any lower because I don't buy it. You're in this league because that's who you are. I mean, if you told me, if somehow Roger Goodell came down from on high and said that now quarterbacks can't break the pocket, Jalen Hurts wouldn't be in this league 2 years from now. Fact or fiction?
Probably fact.
So you're telling me that a guy that, yes, he does have a rushing element to his game. I get it. I just don't see where the change is going to come in. I've seen the highest high side of Jalen Hurts, and it's fantastic. I'm not trying to slight the guy. I'm just looking at this going, all right, if we didn't do fantasy football things, that just say it didn't exist, would you view Jalen Hurts this way? Watching that team last year, would you view him that way, or would you look at him and go, man, it's a really good roster. It's a fantastic defense. They run the ball really well, and he's got weapons galore.
I think you would because he exceeded every expectation for him last year.
And now I'm glad you said that because now we have the expectation. I'm not sure he can live up to what he's already done.
35 total touchdowns is hard to do.
Finished second in MVP voting last year. Do I see a path that happens again?
Yeah. Because the team's just as good. The opportunity is going to be there for him to score.
And the competition is much worse. The NFC, the Rams are now irrelevant. I don't believe in the Packers. I think the Vikings got worse. It's much easier for me to tell you the teams in the NFC that got better as opposed to the ones that got worse. So I look at San Francisco, Seattle very similarly to how I did. I think New Orleans is a little better. I think Carolina's a little better. Other than that, I can make an argument that you're in the same boat or worse with every other team in the NFC. So this premise that he's undervalued is just
it's ridiculous.
Ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I'm not saying he's overrated, but if anything, we're overrating him because of 1 year. Right? I mean, last year there was hype from Eagles fans, and we pushed back on that and said, whoa, wait a minute. We don't know what this guy's going to be like as a starter. He comes in, has an MVP level year. Awesome. All right, so he proved it once. Now let's see him do it again. There's no reason that he shouldn't because everything's the same, right? The only thing missing from that team is Miles Sanders. And guess what? You replaced him with DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny.
Well,
and between the two of them,
they both have that weird disorder where every morning they break their legs and every afternoon they break their arms. And then somehow they wake up put back together.
Right, but so did Miles,
not even close to the same. Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift have neither one ever played 4 consecutive games where they didn't get hurt. Yeah, that's an interesting stat. Those two together, that is to me, that is the step down from Miles Sanders. But common sense ain't common in our YouTube comment said he would take Anthony Richardson over Justin Fields, which leads me into the point that I want to make.
Okay,
we got to take a break, and after that break, I want to dig further into that and tie it back into Jalen Hurts.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
At Ingalls, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingalls and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Dr. Conrad, after all night in the lab, I've cracked the formula for black titanium.
Go on.
It's the luxury of black, the power of titanium, the best odds at $300 and a top prize of $4 million, all in this scratch-off.
This is going to be big.
So, am I getting a raise?
Let's see. New Black Titanium from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take control. Take back your quality of life today with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people every day here and across the country with their amazing non-surgical treatments that repair and restore damaged joint tissue. They use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your own body's healing agents and concentrating them right in the area where you have the agonizing pain. This incredible non-invasive approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving the pain in knees, hips, shoulder, or back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, and no downtime. Listen, summertime needs to be about having fun and making memories. Golfing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors. Take control now and start living pain-free again. Call now for your free consultation with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517 in Asheville and in Greenville. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
The Sportsocracy.
You are just dumber than a bag of hammers.
Back in the Eagles studio on ESPN Asheville, and Anthony Richardson, lots of people have high hopes for him this year.
You shouldn't have high hopes for him this year.
Justin Fields, I'm just saying what he can do with his legs, fantasy owners. There's a group out there. He's the league winner this year. I don't think about that. I don't think so. Justin Fields, was he a league winner last year?
He did pretty well.
But was he
pretty well.
Was he the reason that you won a title?
He didn't hurt. As a guy that drafted him in several leagues, I can tell you right now, the percentage of teams that I won titles with that had him was much higher than the percentage of teams I won with that didn't have him.
Really? Okay. So,
but that could also come from the fact that basically every other idea I had at quarterback last year was stupid.
Jalen Hurts' season last year with 35 total touchdowns, 13 of them coming on the ground, skewed his ability.
And here's where I'm headed with this. I'm going to give you a stat, and I want to see if it hits you in the same way that it hit me.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson has played 70 games in his NFL career.
Okay.
When we talk about rushing quarterbacks, fact or fiction, that is the one that you immediately go, Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
That's where I'm at. To me, he's what you were told Michael Vick was going to be. Do you realize that he's 6th all-time in quarterback rushing attempts right now in 70 games?
Okay.
Now, the ones in front of him, one of them's John Elway, who played 234 games.
Right.
So I'm going to say he doesn't necessarily count for what I'm getting ready to say. The other 4 are Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton. You know what all 4 of those guys have in common?
What's that?
They aged like dairy products. Randall Cunningham had a good year with Minnesota late in his career because he didn't run. Oh, and by the way, he was throwing to Randy Moss and Chris Carter, which that doesn't hurt anything. So where I'm headed with this is, you remember when the Wildcat came out?
Yes.
I will never forget this day because that was in the Brett Favre season with the Jets.
Oh, okay.
It happened the same day that the Jets beat the Tennessee Titans to become the number 1 seed in the AFC. Didn't win another game the entire year.
And this was Ronnie Brown.
Pat
White.
And no, Pat White was drafted after this.
Oh, okay.
This was Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown and all of the different
With the Miami
players.
Dolphins.
And they went into New England, and they absolutely ran the ball down Bill Belichick's throat.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that last? The Wildcat was a thing in the NFL for how long?
A year?
Nope.
Maybe.
Longer than that.
2
It
years.
survived for roughly 2.5 years.
I was going to say, I remember them taking Pat White because they wanted him to run the Wildcat.
There were still elements of that, and it hung around for probably another 2 years after it had really lost its efficiency.
Sizzle.
Something happened earlier in the summer, and I'm telling you right now it's going to have more of an effect, and I can't believe it passed and we didn't notice it.
Oh, is this the handing the ball off forward thing?
Yeah, that fun little read option thing that Jalen Hurts has been doing and Justin Fields has been doing and Lamar Jackson has been doing. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Because I didn't know that until our little 2-week break. And what it immediately made me do was reevaluate every one of these guys. Because that's a huge part of your game. Even if it was only, and I can't remember which one's which, one of the guys we're referencing here only did that like 60 times over the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chunk of your rushing yards. Because when you run the entire defense one way and then you go the other, what's that going to do? It completely changes the way you run.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts did it a lot. And now I'm just looking at this going, I'm not telling you he's going to become Tim Tebow. I'm just saying that is a big element of this that nobody's talking about. And the NFL has a really good history of when you do something that you think is outsmarting the league, especially with the I don't even know what it's really called, but the sneak where the quarterback runs into the tuchus of the center and then just the entire team pushes him forward.
Yeah.
That's next. That's the next
They're
thing.
gonna cut that out.
That'll be the next thing to go away. That's two of Jalen Hurts' biggest moves because it was indefensible. You could not stop them on the 1-yard line. Well, now I've already cut you down in half. Don't be shocked a year from now when that gets cut out too.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have seen the best of Jalen Hurts. Like I said, I'm not telling you he becomes some mediocre quarterback. I still think he'll be fine. But statistically, I believe you've seen the best of him.
Okay. So no more 35 total touchdown seasons for him.
I can't tell you that he couldn't do that again. I'm talking about the full stat line. Throwing for almost 4,000 yards, completing almost 67% of his passes, 3.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Alex Majabi said this in the comments. He doesn't have to be that guy. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that you look around that Philadelphia roster, it's so good, he doesn't have to be that guy. He has to be the efficient guy. And as I'm looking at all these other guys that have made their hay by being runners, every one of them has been not for long. Cam Newton, he was completely washed by 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. By the way, over 200 more rushing attempts than any quarterback in NFL history. Russell Wilson, weird. As soon as he hit 700 rushing attempts, all of a sudden, he wasn't the same guy anymore. He was hurt in Seattle the last year, and he was god-awful in Denver last year.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Vick couldn't stay healthy. Could not stay healthy. Bounced around after Philadelphia, went to the Jets, went to the Steelers. He was a shell of his former self. So where I'm headed with this is, don't be shocked if Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, and all these other guys that do this, it'll shine really bright for a minute.
Yeah.
But are these guys going to play 10 years? I wouldn't be shocked if Jalen Hurts, by the end of the deal he just signed, is starting to show, well, he doesn't quite look like the same guy that he did before. Because you got to remember, he had a lot of touches in college.
Mm-hmm.
He ran a lot at Alabama. He ran a lot at Oklahoma. So I'm only giving you his collegiate stats. Cam Newton had one high-level year of college football production.
Right.
Russell Wilson, he played a lot, but he didn't run a lot at NC State. You didn't see as much of that until he went to Wisconsin. Michael Vick, okay.
We know.
That one doesn't really fit into my narrative because he ran a lot.
Right.
I'm just saying, this undervalued, maybe he is for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be shocked if this doesn't. If you don't see a deterioration quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm looking at a guy like Justin Fields going, man, this better be the year you turn the corner. This better be the year you figure it out. And you better stop lumping yourself into I'm one of the 5 greatest rushing quarterbacks of all time. Yep, and I don't agree with that, but even if I did, that's the end of that message. Repeat the line.
Mm-hmm. I think just on the basis of we haven't seen that many electric running quarterbacks in the history of the game. So he's already on the short list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he only needed one season to get on the short list. But the question is, how long is that going to last? And is he going to be able to, it's the thing that I've had with all of the running quarterbacks is, are you going to be able to be a pocket passer at some point? Or maybe not a pocket passer, but at least be more like, any of the guys at the top. Like, I feel like Josh Allen is learning, and they're using him in the sense of, don't run so much, do it with your arm. Joe Burrow, he can do it with his legs, but he doesn't. He does it with his arm, right? He's protecting himself by not running so much. You have to be able to transition into that, or, your career is going to be vastly shorter than these other guys.
You said Josh Allen there. Fun stat on him. He's in the top 20 of rushing quarterback attempts of all time in 77 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and tell you, I'd lump him into the exact same boat of what I'm talking about here. That's not who we started this talking about, but Josh Allen falls into it every bit as much as Jalen Hurts does.
But you believe in the arm talent, right? You believe in his abilities in the pocket to be able to extend his career, don't you? Plus, he has the size. Plus, he has the size when he's running.
Jalen Hurts has the size too.
Killed as bad.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen are not far from the same size.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen them side by side, so I don't.
You asked me that about Josh Allen. I believe he has a big enough arm. I do not know that he has an accurate enough arm. Jalen, I'm the exact opposite. I don't know that you've got the high-level cannon, but I can actually see him having a longer career being more accurate. Josh Allen had horrific accuracy problems coming to this league.
Yeah. He gets Stephon Diggs, and that all kind of changed.
And that's kind of the point. It's weird. Throwing to 4 dudes that should be selling insurance, you looked wildly inaccurate.
Right.
Throwing to Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox, now all of a sudden you're special.
Which plays into Justin Fields this year. Didn't have great weapons before. Now you added DJ Moore.
It's certainly going
better,
to help.
Right. You get another year of development with Cole Kmet, right? Darnell Mooney gets a little bit of help because he's not the one anymore.
I've said all of these things, and I will definitively say there's no team in the NFL, outside of maybe the Cleveland Browns, I would have to go back and check, that I am more invested in the over on a team's win projection than the Chicago Bears.
Really?
I have slighted Justin Fields for 2 years, and yet I still look at the schedule, and I look at that team, and I look at how much better it is, and go, yeah, you're going to win it. You're going to win 7 games. I think 7 wins.
6.5?
6.5. And I think that's your floor.
Interesting.
Yeah, you are
go from the worst team in the league to right outside the playoffs in 1 year.
Oh, I've already said this out loud. You weren't here for this.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Chicago Bears won that division. Wouldn't be shocked in the least. And frankly, I will be shocked if there's anything worse than second. It would absolutely dumbfound me because that's how little I believe in Minnesota.
Right.
And how little I believe in Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
That's kind of those two are tied together.
See, I think Green Bay staring at the basement of that division, and Chicago ain't far ahead of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just keep looking at the schedule going, you're annoying enough that you're going to win games.
This is the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville, and we'll be back in the Eagles studio right after this, just a bit outside, and then we got to continue with our off-season files. Who got better, who got worse in the off-season. Next up, oh, look, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. This should be fun.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again, today I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If summer is heating up your hiring needs, then you need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor your first job and get hiring today by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Foo Fighters,
Fall Out Boy,
Kelly Clarkson,
Kane Brown,
Lil Wayne,
Lenny Kravitz,
Miguel,
Public Enemy,
Sheryl Crow,
Travis Scott,
Tim McGraw,
TLC,
30 Seconds to Mars.
Get your tickets now.
For 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
AXS.com.
Every day you breathe in thousands of tiny little germs, allergens, and viruses. Don't let these invisible invaders make breathing through your nose impossible. Flush them out with Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, helping flush out everything that makes you miserable. Nearly 4 million people use Navage to breathe better, snore less, and feel healthier. People like Dan, a verified Navage user who writes, I've had trouble with my sinuses for decades. I always thought something like this was a gimmick, but one use and I'm hooked. I should have bought this a long time ago. The results are immediate and incredible." Unquote. If you suffer from sinus congestion, allergies, or snoring, then Navage is the safe, drug-free solution you've been looking for. Navage is at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and Navage.com. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to ESPNAVL.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zack with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
It is the Sportsocracy. It is almost football season. Football season is almost here, and it's time to talk about some college football because, well, there's something that could happen in college football this year that I don't know that it's ever happened before.
My team it just eviscerates yours, and we have a show that I can talk about it.
I'm talking three-peat, man.
Oh,
three-peat for the Georgia Bulldogs. They are the overall favorite in Vegas right now, the odds-on favorite to win the national championship for a third straight year.
Well, that's because you're in the greatest conference in college football, and still somehow you play a
cupcake
Daisy
schedule.
Duke cupcake schedule.
Right.
The SEC, we're built different. Yeah, look at that Georgia schedule. Tell me how different you're built. Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Hot.
Missouri. You do get a tilt with Missouri.
Can't wait for that one. Last year was a nail-biter. Let's see if this one's going to be scary as well.
But that one was scary. I watched more of that than I'm proud of.
But the most important thing right now for Kirby Smart as SEC Media Days are going on down in Nashville, I guess, or over in Nashville, is obviously he's fielding all the questions. What's the most important thing to you right now? And of course, he uses the coach speak, the one-word answer, complacency. Obviously, you don't want to get resting on your laurels, back-to-back champions. We got a lot of changes here. Still got to focus on the prize. But it wasn't necessarily that he was talking about. When he said complacency, what he meant was the guys in the locker room. Having that thought in your brain of we've got to be better off the field than we have been.
That's where I was headed with this. What's your biggest worry? The Fulton County Sheriff's Department. That should be your biggest worry. Because I think you've had 8 guys detained or cited for traffic violations in the last 6 months.
Do what?
You've had a ton of traffic violations in the last handful of months.
And that's where I'm heading with this. So obviously, the biggest of them all is the deadly accident that happened, took the life of one of the football players, and of course we talked about it during the draft process because Jordan Davis was Jalen Carter was hooked. You know he was connected to all of that. Since that happened, since that crash took Devin Willock's life, 11 Georgia Bulldogs.
I undershot it.
11 Georgia Bulldogs have been cited for moving violations by law enforcement. Now, here's the biggest missed opportunity, I think, in all of NIL. Why do we not have an Uber deal with the Georgia Bulldogs?
You should.
Like, from now on, Georgia Bulldog players, that's all they do. We're taking Ubers everywhere we go. It won't even charge you. It'll be part of the sponsorship deal. I don't care. Kirby said we've got to be better because at this point, every time it happens, it's going to be a front page story. And he's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's right. The microscope is turned all the way up on this team, and any chance that you have to throw shade at it, I mean, you used to have you used to be a fan of a program that was at the top of the college football world, and when you were you're taking all the targets.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's aiming for you to take you down.
If I had $1 for every person that ever called Florida State Free Shoes University to me, I will never not hate Steve Spurrier for making that a thing.
Right.
He could win 3 Nobel Peace Prizes. I will still detest Steve Spurrier for the number of times that was said to me.
I think when all the guys show up, I mean, I don't think there's much you can do about it right now, but when all the guys show up for the first practice of the fall camp or whatever, you take all their licenses. Just take them all. But take them all. We're going to put them in a lockbox, and we're going to hide that box away somewhere.
Fantastic. Tank just turned into Al Gore. My story, oddly enough, also has to do with SEC Media Days, and it has to do with your Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh.
So Media Days happening in Nashville. Have you ever been to Nashville?
Yes.
So there is a big strand in Nashville right below the Bridgestone Arena and on the other side of the river from Nissan Stadium that's called Music Row.
Yeah.
Well, there's a ton of bars and restaurants and things down there. One thing that really irks me is people that claim to be sports fans, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You wear the jersey and you usually get really vocal, like, I love the Georgia Bulldogs. Meanwhile, you don't know who any of the players are. Well, it just so happened.
Hey, leave my wife out of this discussion, okay?
Hey, you said that, not me. So if she gets mad at anybody, it should be you.
No, I always give her heck because every time we're watching a show or I'm watching a show and a name comes up and I look at her and she'll go, why am I supposed to know that name?
Wah, wah. Tootsie's it's one of the most famous bars in Music City's Music Row. Well, they just so happened to be having a live music event last night. Things happening. SEC Media Day. So the lead singer is wearing a number 11 Georgia Bulldog jersey. Now, Tank, you are
it back.
You are a Georgia fan.
Yes.
You've become much more vocal the better they've been. But
as you do.
I don't. I'm the loudest Jet fan on the planet, and we've just absolutely been atrocious for most of my life.
Oh, we're going to wait and see how loud you could be.
Oh, just give it time because it will be very. So number 11, the last really popular number 11 for the Georgia Bulldogs was who?
Who? Was it Joe Cox?
Aaron Murray.
Right there.
Aaron Murray.
So close.
Well, Aaron Murray is now an analyst for the SEC network.
Right.
Which means he is at SEC Media Days. It also just so happened that he was at Tootsie's while this girl was singing some song. Oh. She asked him, and I quote, "What's your name, boss?"
On stage?
On stage, because Aaron Murray was badly, just horror-awful Tank Spencer dancing on the stage.
Yeah, let's go.
And Aaron Murray's response was, "You're wearing my jersey."
Although, think about it, though. That is the greatest card you ever get to play.
What,
right?
You're wearing my jersey?
Right. They don't know who you are. You're like, are you sure you don't know who I am?
And sadly enough, that's the highlight of Aaron Murray's professional career.
No doubt. He did not have much of a future in the NFL.
That and that 1 year with the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL.
I remember thinking, I can't wait to see him take over for Alex Smith in Kansas City.
Well, you were right. There was a young quarterback that was going to take over for Alex Smith. You missed it by that much.
Exactly. Actually, I don't even know. Was that Alex Smith? I don't even know if Alex Smith was there at the time.
He was. It was 2014.
Okay. Yeah, yikes.
I can't say anything. I thought Aaron Murray would be at least a decent backup.
I'll be honest with you, though. If Aaron Murray walked in this studio right now, I can't tell you that I would recognize him.
I would know exactly
take a second.
Of all people that have ever played quarterback in any level of football, none of them look like they should be selling car insurance more than Aaron Murray.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Name one better.
Stetson Bennett.
No.
I can name you 12 Georgia quarterbacks that look like they should be selling. Joe Cox, I said one earlier.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett. I don't know that he even looks like he should be selling car insurance.
Brock Vandergriff.
That might be the greatest deep dive that you've ever had on this show. I'm almost shocked. That was impressive. Let's go. Let's go.
Interesting. All right, off-season files. Let's keep it rolling here with the off-season files, going through every team before training camps open here. We're still on pace for that, right?
Yes.
I haven't done the math on it lately. But Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders. The team that I love to hate on. And things just keep getting worse, in my opinion, for this team. After you ditched on Derek Carr, and then you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, and now we're hearing all the stuff about he may not be healthy and had to have surgery and all this. Josh McDaniels, he's hanging on by a thread.
The offset language in the Jimmy Garoppolo thing just absolutely mortifies me.
What were the details on that?
That basically, if he can't pass a team physical, they can get out of this for nothing. I mean, that would mortify me that they had to, because we didn't have a chance to talk about this because this was during our little sabbatical.
Yeah.
Basically, the day that they were going to announce Jimmy Garoppolo, if you remember, they had to put off the news conference, and nobody could quite figure out why. Well, this was why. Because he could not pass a physical. And I'm going to say this as clearly as I can. There's no team in the NFL that I look at and go, you want your season to be over before it even begins? If you don't have Jimmy Garoppolo, we're talking worst 5 teams in the NFL. Can you name another quarterback on that roster?
Yeah, they got Jarrett Stidham.
No, he's in Denver.
Oh.
They had Jarrett Stidham.
They did have Jarrett Stidham.
And they let him walk out the door.
Ooh.
So they could bring in another.
Aaron Murray's not doing much these days.
They brought in another New England Patriot retread, Brian Hoyer.
Ah, that was the one.
And Aiden O'Connell and Chase Garbers. Woo. Look, I like the Raiders better than you do. I don't think the roster is... The roster's not bereft of talent. I don't love your secondary. I never have. I don't love your offensive line. I never have. And I absolutely despise your coach. But if Garoppolo can make it onto the field, I don't think you're a bottom feeder. They will be a tough team to deal with because you still have one of the best receivers in the NFL. I can make the argument you have one of the best receiving cores in the NFL.
I'd agree with that. You throw Jacoby Myers in there.
Hunter Renfrow in the slot, Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer. In terms of your top 5 targets with Josh Jacobs, there's nothing wrong with that. But if the point guy is Brian Hoyer, then it's over before it even began.
Absolutely. I don't see anything really to be in love with this team.
I think the pass rush will be better.
I feel like you've got a horrible front office. Your quarterback situation is questionable at best with the Garoppolo injury and everything. There's now what I feel like is going to be a standoff relationship between you and your running back who wanted to be paid and couldn't be paid.
Well,
the offensive line's not been great in ever. And the defense is, I think they're terrible. Honestly.
I love the front four. The problem is that I love every level of this defense about half as much as I loved the previous level of this defense. If you go front to back, and by the time you get to the back four, I just look at it and go, whew, I really like Trayvon Moehrig. End of message, repeat the line.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of wins for this team, in my opinion.
If it starts poorly, how quickly does Josh McDaniels get fired?
I'll go 5 games at maximum.
Do you know how they start this season?
No, I haven't.
At the Broncos, at the Bills, Steelers in Vegas, at the Chargers, Green Bay in Vegas, New England in Vegas, at the Bears, at the Lions, and then the 2 New York teams. And then you get at the Dolphins and Kansas City.
All right, so I feel like
that's going into the bye week.
Now I feel like 5 is actually the floor is 4, the ceiling is 7.
If Josh McDaniels makes it through the bye week, we need to start searching his office for where he has dirty pictures of Mark Davis, because that is the only way I can figure out he survives that long.
Unless we hear that they're too poor again to cut him loose.
I still believe that's – I don't believe that's a thing.
Right.
And maybe I just don't believe any ownership group could be that cash poor. But you have to get out of this. This was a team that I really believed in 2 years ago, as you were doing the salvage of the year after John Gruden, and literally every decision Josh McDaniels has made has atrophied this team just a little bit every single time.
Yes, it has. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. After the break, Jeremy's going to give you his bangers for the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool.
It may be time for he who shall not be named and I to make up.
Tease off shortly after 1 a.m. tomorrow, but here's your bangers next, since we won't be here tomorrow because of a Braves game. Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
At Ingalls, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have your back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer. And the good ones, somehow, a little better. That's what family is all about. Whether they walk on 2 legs or 4. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that debating your accessories.
Could use some new riding gloves. Guess I'll go with black leather again. Just seems so basic. Wait, what if I did white leather? People be like, hey, this guy's different. Or they might be like, hey, this guy looks like a butler. Yeah, okay, black leather it is.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT for just $199. Plus, get up to 20% off select James Hardie siding. Shop in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Metabo HPT offer valid 7/6 through 7/26. James Hardy offer valid 7/13 through 7/19. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Research shows people ignore radio ads. While I want you to remember that Liberty Mutual customizes and saves you hundreds on home insurance, I know no one's listening, so I can say anything. I can even tell Jenny that I never stop thinking about us. Sometimes I almost call, but I only truly feel safe revealing this in the privacy of my nationally broadcast radio ad.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Careless debris burning is the leading cause of wildfires in North Carolina. Remember to keep your burn pile small, not tall, and never burn on dry, windy days or leave your fire unattended. Learn more at ncforestservice.gov. You are the best defense against wildfires.
Coffee closes on.
Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
2 3-1 days in a row in Major League Baseball, and that means it's time for me to not tempt fate and try to do it a third time because baseball is insanely hard. And a lot of early games today, and we got something important coming up, and frankly, I need to exercise a demon. This is Green on Green, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. For those of you that don't know this story, I almost won the million on DraftKings 5 years ago at the Open Championship. I was burned by one simple golfer that has been on my never again list, and that was Hideki Matsuyama. Now, we've been removed enough from that I think it's time for Matsuyama and I to have a bit of an understanding. Because at plus 6,000 to win the Open Championship, he's one of my favorite dart throws, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the cosmic wagering gods telling me it's time for us to come back together, or if there's actually something to this. So he is my favorite dart throw. He and Sahith Theegala, who's plus 15,000. Now, if you want a little bit of a safer bet, take Sahith Theegala to finish in the top 10, which you'll get at plus 1,200. Doesn't sound like much, but that's 12 times whatever you put into it. For who's going to win, a little bit better of a wager. A lot of people are on Brooks Koepka. A lot of people are on Rory McIlroy. A lot of people are on Scotty Scheffler. I'm not saying I don't see those things. There's just no value to it because you're catching such a low number, and it's so hard to win at this championship. I'm going to keep saying Victor Hovland until he finally wins one of these. He's finished in the top 10 the last 3 times that I said to take him. And eventually, if I keep doing this, I'm going to be right. And he's plus 2,200 to win this event this week. So he's my favorite going in. I also like Cameron Smith at plus 2,000. Colin Morikawa. That one sounds weird because he hasn't been particularly good lately. But this course really panders to him at plus 3,500. And our favorite Irishman, Shane Lowry, at plus 4,000. I think all of these guys are good values to win the Open Championship and can give you a great return on your investment. I'm staying away from the highest end guys. I'm sticking more in that middle tier because this is going to be a weird weekend at Royal Liverpool. For more, find us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, Green on Green's brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Mull it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again, today I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Ingles Markets and iHeartRadio Asheville have declared July Public Safety Appreciation Month. Throughout the month, we'll be recognizing our hard-working public safety officers from Asheville, Waynesville, Weaverville, Canton, and the Sheriff's Department of Haywood County and Buncombe County. Our good friends at Ingles Markets will be providing a one-time lunch for all, and we'll be making an appearance at each department as well to thank them for their hard work in keeping us safe. July is Public Safety Appreciation Month with Ingles Markets and iHeartRadio Asheville.
The Dell Technologies Black Friday and July event starts now with savings on select Vostro, Latitude, and XPS PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get free shipping on everything. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
From the Eagles studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Weesey. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. The Jets' Aaron Rodgers era officially began today as players reported for training camp. Lots of buzz surrounding New York ever since the acquisition of the four-time NFL MVP from the Packers. The Jets, who haven't made the playoffs in over a dozen years, feel they finally got the missing piece. ESPN football analyst Booger McFarland.
Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's going to make their offense better. But offense is about timing, rhythm, cohesion, cohesiveness. I do expect them, by the time you get past the first 4 or 5 games, that offense should be able to put up 25, 28 points a game. And if they can do that, they're going to win 10, 11, 12 games, and that'll get them a good spot in the tournament.
Booger on Greeny. Steelers signed pass rusher Alex Highsmith to a 4-year, $68 million extension, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter, over $28 million in guaranteed money.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's grand. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Green, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Eagles Supermarkets.
This is the Sportsocracy, and we are live in the Ingalls studio. ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And, of course, you can take us with you everywhere you go using the iHeartRadio app, or you can watch us on your smart device on YouTube. YouTube.com/The Sportsocracy. Open up the app. Just search The Sportsocracy. It's very easy to find. Subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. And it is a Wednesday. We will be off tomorrow because of a Braves game tomorrow afternoon. Back with you for a Football Friday. We'll figure out somehow to make it a Football Friday. Jeremy gave you his bangers for the Open Championship. I keep wanting to call it the U.S. Open.
It is not the U.S. Open. It literally couldn't be any less the U.S. Open if it tried.
The Open Championship this weekend. So if you missed it, you can go back and check it out on the podcast, on the iHeartRadio app. And as well, you want to get in on the Beer City's Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft Contest. You can do that. The links are in the description of the YouTube video. That and the Battle for the Belt, it's all mixed right there together.
They are tied together until the Tools for Schools drive that we have at the beginning of next month. Then the price will stay the same, but you will only get entry into the Battle for the Belt.
You want to be crowned.
So you want to do that in the next 2 weeks.
You want to be crowned Beer City's best fantasy football player like Michael Meadows was last year for winning the Battle for the Belt. Then you get into the contest with us, play with us all year long. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And yes, Jeremy's even come up with a new contest that's going to make sure that I lose even more than I already do.
Yes. Yeah, because the eliminator version of this, where you can only use each individual player 3 times over the course of the season, it is evil.
Last hour we were talking about, overrated, underrated with Jalen Hurts and some of the rushing quarterbacks. But that's always the game that we play in the NFL, right? Players feel like they're underrated. Some of you feel like they're overrated and they don't get the contract that they want. And i.e. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, guys like that. Well, there's a new guy who wants his due, and he hails from the city of Dallas. And down in the Big D, Zack Martin says he's got to get his. and he may miss camp because he needs a new contract. Why is this a big deal?
It's a big deal because this is an all-in Dallas Cowboy team. That's why you go get Stephon Gilmore. That's why you go get Brandon Cooks. You know you're in a window. Are you better than Philadelphia?
No.
Maybe. You might be. You completely dismiss that, where I do not. And usually, I would come in here and say, look, Zack Martin signed a 6-year deal. You wanted the long-term security. You have to know as things accelerate, you will no longer be the highest-paid guard in the league. When you signed it, it's just like Pat Mahomes. When he signed that 10-year deal, he knew, I'm not going to be the highest-paid player in this paid quarterback in this league for long, because the highest-paid player is usually the most recently paid player. Now, Zack Martin has fallen down the list. When he signed this deal, I'm pretty sure he was one, because every one of these deals I'm looking at has been signed since he signed that deal with Dallas.
I'm sure he was.
Well, he's 9 now.
Right. The market has passed him by, and I don't begrudge him for wanting to be paid what he's worth. He's better than all other 8 guys on that list, isn't he? Save for Quentin Nelson?
Quentin Nelson, Joe Thuney. I would say they're both. That's the 3. But even if you don't have him as the 1, I can tell you definitively he's not the 9. And why is this a big deal? Because this is one time that I feel like the team is absolutely hung out to dry. You have to do this.
Yes.
Have to do this.
He has anchored that offensive line for long enough, and he needs to be paid like a superstar. I mean, Quentin...
Well, he still is a superstar. I don't really care what he's done in the past. I mean, it helps that in his entire career, he's played in every season that he's played 14 games, he was either first or second team AP All-Pro.
Bingo.
But he's still that guy. And he knows this. He knows you're going to have to bend to me.
Yeah.
Because this team they're really hedging a lot of bets on being able to run with Tony Pollard. Is this a better team, yes or no, with Zack Martin?
Yes.
Then this should never have even come out. This should have been, he went to Jarrah, who seems to be just all willy-nilly handing things out to people. Relationship with Clarence Thomas that I didn't know about until earlier today.
Really?
Yeah, Clarence Thomas got a Super Bowl ring. Clarence Thomas apparently got a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't begrudge you. I mean, a lot of people have made a big deal about this. That
what's the connection?
A Supreme Court judge shouldn't.
Is he
he's a Cowboy fan.
Oh, he's a Cowboys fan.
He's a Cowboys fan, and he's friends with Jerry Jones.
Okay.
But this is one of those times, and I can't tell you that he felt some kind of way. I can tell you his agent did. His agent looked around and went, yeah, if you're ever going to ask anything, now's the time. Go get your money.
Yeah. The highest AAV was the average
annual value.
Average annual value of his deal is at $14 million. Well, Chris Lindstrom with the Atlanta Falcons, he's number 1 in the league in that
20
category.
and a half, he just got signed this year.
$20.5 million. So that's a pretty sizable gap. Quentin Nelson's at 20, and then you got Elgton Jenkins at 17, Brandon Scherf at 16.5. You got to give this guy a pay bump. He's got to get something. I'm not, he may be looking for the break the market. He wants 21 a year. But to me, that's not what he said. What he said was he wants to be
at the high end of the market.
He wants to be at the high end of the market. Yeah,
and he
right.
should be. He's a better player than every one of those other players, at least debatably.
I don't need to break you. 18 will get me in the ballpark if that's all you're willing to come off of this year, or for the duration of this deal.
And like I said, it would be one thing if he hadn't played up to the contract that he signed.
He's surpassed.
I'm usually one of those of, look, you can have one or the other. You're either going to have long-term security, but don't come whining to me 3 years from now when exactly what has happened here has happened, because you know it going in. You sacrificed that for the long-term deal. Usually, that's where I would fall in. I don't hear Because if I'm Dallas, I'm looking at this season as, okay, what can we do differently? All right, I threw out a meme on our social media pages of what things looked like the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl, and one of them was that sweet see-through, multicolored Macintosh computer. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Every one of us had those in our computer lab growing up.
Absolutely.
That was new technology the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. So what can you do differently this year? Because I'm not sitting here telling you this team's way more talented than they have been in the past. I think they're better.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the NFC is awful. So maybe this year we go about this a different way. And we're just quiet. Just all quiet. Nobody's angry. We talk about things behind closed doors. Zack Martin, you want your money? Let's make an example here. This is a guy that has been Mr. Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
As I stated, only 1 year of his entire career has he not finished as a AP All-Pro, first or second team. He also finished second in Rookie of the Year voting his rookie year, which is, that's weird to see from a guard. You just have to get it done. You've got to make sure that nothing upsets this boat. Because I don't think Dallas is in a huge window. I don't believe in Dak Prescott. I never have, and I probably never will.
Mm-hmm.
But now, kind of like what we said about Jalen Hurts earlier, you're going to see a better version of who he is than who he is because of what is around him. I can't have one of the things that I know. Zack Martin's like a foundation piece of this house. I can't have this crumbling. Now, is it going to age poorly? Probably. Yeah, guess what? So is the rest of the entire roster. You're going to lose Dan Quinn eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So this defense is not going to be as good as it has been. Eventually, you have to pay Trayvon Diggs.
Next year.
Eventually, you have to pay Micah Parsons. And I got news for you. That's going to hurt.
That's going to be
whatever you
mess.
think that number is, you should probably add about $6 million to it. So while you have, and that's what I would tell him, is, okay, we'll renegotiate the deal, but we're not going to extend the deal.
Where are we at with Micah? Is he $30 million a year base? I mean, like floor for his next deal?
I believe that will be, and I want it on record that I said this. I believe that will be the most convoluted negotiation in the history of the NFL. Because I can already tell you what he's going to say. Well, you're going to franchise me as a linebacker, but I'm not a linebacker. Well, you are. You play snaps there. We list you there. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you list me at. Let's talk about snaps.
You think they'll tag him instead of getting a long-term deal done with him?
I think your goal is to get a long-term deal done. But that's kind of where I'm at with Dallas is you've got all of these things that are on the horizon. This is the last time this team is going to be quiet for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've drafted well. You've got pieces. We didn't even mention CeeDee Lamb, of which that ain't going to be fun.
Next year.
That ain't going to be fun either.
No. CD and Trayvon both come up next year. CD's already had his fifth-year option picked up, so he's good for at least another year, but this next offseason is when you want to get that extension done, right? You want to kick it in. So you got him. Diggs doesn't have the fifth-year option because he's a second-round pick.
Correct.
So he'll be a free agent next year, flat out. You got Micah after that.
That's one
Tony
that you
needs
mark
to
my
be
words,
paid.
he gets tagged.
I mean, if you're going to keep Tony around, he needs to be paid too, depending on how this season goes. He's on a 1-year, $10 million deal. Let's see what happens.
I think once they see that the leg is fine with Tony Pollard, I don't really envision that being as big of a headache.
It may not be.
Because you talk about a running back that's got a lot of tread on the tires. Tony Pollard is a running back that has a lot of tread on the tires.
But we talked about this before Dak Prescott got his 4-year, $40 million a year deal, right? If you invest in that, you're going to stay in this. I mean, how much of a problem did they have a couple of years ago? Remember when they had Dak Prescott was coming up for the contract? They had just given Amari Cooper $100 million. Randy Gregory was a big ask for them as well. Like, they're continuing to live in this realm of you're going to have massive contracts that you have to come off of, and you don't have that much cap space, right?
No.
I mean, $20 million cap space right now, that
will get eaten by one of these deals.
Right.
So this is going to escalate quickly. But like I said, you're in a window, and you have to just make sure that the things that you can control are controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Our first one of these of the day from our buddy Bo.
I'm your huckleberry.
He said, put that same meme out about the Jets, mullet man. Love you guys. Well, I could, except there's not that many pictures of an abacus, which is what a computer looked like the last time my team won a Super Bowl. Yeah, computers were in somebody's brain. Take a picture of Steve Jobs' forehead, because that's what a computer looked like the last time.
They existed at that point. It was just it took 2 warehouses to hold one of them at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they could configure 1 megabyte for the entire thing.
Things didn't run so smoothly at that point.
1969. It's
been a minute.
Time.
But
a long time.
That's going to be unwound. And you know when? When you're 2023 Super Bowl champion New York Jets. Let's go, baby. Breathe it in, man. Let's go. So let's just all hold hands and be a part of something. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of us except Denzel Mims. Yeah. You're not allowed to
I
come
really
on.
hope this comes to fruition for you.
No, you don't.
I do.
No,
I really do, because you'll never hear the end of it if it doesn't. You remember how giddy you were when my Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 7-5, and we were like, they're never going to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Thank my lucky stars they did win a Super Bowl, because if they hadn't, I'd never heard the end of it.
Yeah. Hey, I got the Nuggets. I'm just, you call it the Hurricane Rock if you want to. I did this for the Nuggets. It worked. I do it with the Jets. The cursory evidence says that'll work too.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Another dude's getting paid. Guy from right around the corner from where we're at right now, or at least that's where he went to college, and he's cashing in with one of those teams that I like to deny. But with him sewed up, I'm going to like this team in perpetuity.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 west and eastbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, also slow. 26 westbound slowing, approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road, slow. Sweeten Creek Road northbound slow between Mills Gap Road and the Givens Estates area. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue north and southbound near Edgewood Road, delays both directions. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has big savings on everything you need for school. And right now, save up to $250 on select computers. At Staples, school savings are always in session. In-store only offer ends July 29th. See an associate for details. School on, save on at Staples.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year. Which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Dr. Conrad, after all night in the lab, I've cracked the formula for black titanium.
Go on.
It's the luxury of black, the power of titanium, the best odds at $300 and a top prize of $4 million, all in this scratch-off.
This is gonna be big.
So, am I getting a raise?
Let's see. New Black Titanium from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The free iHeartRadio app covers the sports teams you love like no one else. Catch the latest breaking news, plus the upcoming NFL season's just around the corner. And iHeartRadio is your official podcast partner of the NFL. Make the iHeart app your go-to to stay up to date on all things in the sports world. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
The original Tough Man contest hits the ring at Silverado's in Black Mountain July 28th and 29th. See the toughest fighters go toe-to-toe in live action. Tickets are $20 in advance and $30 the day of the show. The original Tough Man competition, July 28th and 29th at Silverado's in Black Mountain. Ringside and VIP tickets are available. Get yours now at silveradoswnc.com. silveradoswnc.com.
Our
communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, Jeremy, before you get too excited about Super Bowls, you should set your bar lower.
I just want a division title.
Just make the playoffs.
I don't want somebody to be able to say, well, you hadn't won a division since 2001 ever again. I don't. If I never hear that again for the rest of my life, I'll be happy.
Just set that bar low. Try to win the division first, or try to get the playoffs first, and then the division, and then we can talk about Super Bowl.
Oh, trust me. As somebody that is very much immersed in Jetdom, trying to tell that to Jets fans gets very, we'll say, taxing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we're winning the Super Bowl. That's already. That's the question. We gonna win 2 or 4 or 12. This is why everybody hates us. This is why everybody hates us.
Yeah. You got a lot of those in your fan base. It's like, everybody wants to disrespect us with our records. I go into every year thinking we're going to be 17-0. Anything less, you're not a fan. No, that means you are a moron, sir.
Yeah, and by the way, God bless anybody that talks like that, because that's the same voice we use for every idiot fan every time we talk about it, no matter what team they pull.
No, that's the go-to voice you use when you want to make fun of somebody, right?
Yes,
exactly.
I mean, I got a few others. I imitate you sometimes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
I always love when I can make him just go, and moving on.
And we're moving on. The Pittsburgh Steelers reached a deal with Alex Highsmith. 4 years, $68 million extension. I mean, this is a guy who, right around the corner, went to college at Charlotte. He was a 49er. Hails from Wilmington. In fact, he was just a mere 5 years old the last time the Jets won a division. But Alex Highsmith,
I knew that was coming. It was just a question of
it's going to get $27.7 million guaranteed in this deal. Last year, 14.5 sacks. Obviously, there was the absence of T.J. Watt. He stepped in a big way. The question is, can he be that when TJ's there? Because he hadn't been.
He had still been good. He just didn't put up
those kind of numbers.
He didn't put up that kind of stats. Right. He had a very high pressure rate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he's duplicating that season again. I don't think he has to. You're the second best pass rusher on this team. And I the more I look at Pittsburgh, the more I can't figure out how this team's not going to be just really, really, really good.
Hey, I'm not going that far. I mean, you can be good. You can be right above 500 kind of a team, but I don't see them being really, really, really good. They're in a hell of a division. I mean, their schedule ain't easy. And
it's not nearly as bad as you think. I mean, yeah, you get an early bye, which that's awful. They split with the Ravens every single year. That's how that goes.
Yep.
But you start the year, San Francisco in Pittsburgh, Cleveland in Pittsburgh, at the Raiders, at the Texans, Baltimore. Is it that untoward to think this team starts 4-1?
No.
Then you get a bye week. The Rams, Jacksonville, in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee, Green Bay, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati. That's tough. I get it. That's tough. Arizona, New England, at Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Seattle, Baltimore. I will make the sweeping declaration now. I've treaded lightly with Pittsburgh because you know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. This team will win double-digit games, you mark my words.
Okay.
And I think they're going to make the playoffs because they do something that not a lot of other teams do. This defense is good. You look at that front seven. Look, I know a lot of you don't know who Keanu Benton is. You're going to know who Keanu Benton is really, really soon. And you add that to Cam Hayward, that they finally got Larry Ogunjobi, or they got that done. And you got T.J. Watt and Highsmith. Got Patrick Peterson.
You even got DeMarvin Leal, who could be but he could be a useful piece. You know,
DeMarvin Leal. I think the entire industry figured out. Why did we think he was so good? Oh, because he looks like Thor. Unfortunately, he doesn't play like Thor.
But if you have that guy,
he's a nice rotational
what better
piece.
Team to have him with? What better development system to have him with than Pittsburgh?
The AFC North is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I don't see any way around it because I believe in all four of those teams to some level.
Yep.
And the further down this rabbit hole I go, the more that I look at those fringe teams, the teams that I'm like, okay, well, I mean, the roster's not bad. The Raiders, who we talked about earlier. You're winning 5 games. Sorry. Because you only get 5 games against the NFC, and you're just worse than practically every other team in this conference. Denver. But we got Sean Payton. Yeah, and you still got Let's Ride, which means you're bad. Bad. Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Houston Texans, New England Patriots. Sorry. The 6 of you are just drastically worse than the other 10 teams in this conference. And for whatever reason, the more times Pittsburgh comes up, the more I like them. All right, let's do it this way. Take Kenny Pickett out of it, because I know as soon as I ask this, that's going to be what you say. What's the other weakness on this team? Just go up and down the depth chart. Tell me what the other weakness is on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have one. Their inside linebackers aren't great.
They're fine.
Right. Not saying they're terrible.
I like Landon Roberts, obviously, much more than you do.
He's all right.
He's also lived in my division, so I'm pretty used to him. He was one of the ones that absolutely annihilated Mike White. So I've seen him a time or two. And I'm getting further and further down this hole of, all right, so you've got a really good coach. You tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay.
I got a really good coach.
Yep.
I've got a high-level game manager quarterback.
I don't know about high level, but
game manager quarterback. He's a high-level version of Colt McCoy, fact or fiction.
Okay.
There you go. That's just always the name I refer to there. Case Keenum also applies. You're going to run the ball, I think, really, really well. You're going to play really good defense. You know what that sounds like? New England. It sounds like New England the year they made the playoffs with Mac Jones. And I think Kenny Pickett's better than Mac Jones. Not sure it's all that close.
Okay.
And the receiving core here is light years better than anything they've had in the post-Brady years. And I
better
think
than New England had, yeah.
And I think it just comes down to we don't give Mike Tomlin the respect that we give Bill Belichick, in spite of the fact that you should. 116 Super Bowls. Yeah, just wait till the next segment. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna give you something from somebody that was in the building. And that's the only thing I come back to is that you don't respect him to that level because he's only got one.
And I can't disagree with that. His teams are always competitive, never had a losing season. We went through this last year with this team.
And not going to this year. They're not going to have a losing record this year.
And I don't think so. I don't think they will be. I still look at this team and I feel like 10 is their ceiling rather than being their floor. But I get what you're saying with the schedule, and there are a lot of winnable games on there. But we know not every team wins all the winnable games.
No, and I'm not saying they do. I'm just saying in the AFC, there are very few abilities to have scheduling things go your way. Tell me what didn't go their way.
Oh, no, they got a hell of a break.
Oh, you start with San Francisco. Okay, and it in theory is either going to be Sam Darnold's first start with his team, or it's going to be Brock Purdy coming back the first game off of PCL.
Mm-hmm.
That's
PCL.
the biggest. What'd I say?
PCL. It's a UCL.
Or whatever.
He had the Tommy John.
Oh.
The PCL's in your knee.
You're right. It's a CL. Okay?
Yes, it is.
So you catch that first week of the season.
Yeah.
You catch Cleveland early, and both of those games are in your place.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't really have daunting games back-to-back other than at Cleveland and at Cincinnati for the rest of your schedule.
Right.
Until the end.
You said, would I be shocked if they started out 4-1? No, I wouldn't. You look at who they're playing, it makes perfect sense. However, I also feel like there's as equal of an opportunity for them to start 2-3.
I don't see that.
Because they could lose to the 49ers. The offense isn't clicking right away, and that defense just overshadows them. And, okay, then they play the Browns, and the Browns have found lightning in a bottle, and Deshaun Watson looks amazing, and they lose that one. And then they lose to the Ravens, because they're definitely not going to lose to the Raiders or the Texans in my book. But I wouldn't be shocked to see you start out, 2-3 rather than 4-1. I just feel like
no path to that.
the swing, no path. You see no path.
Nope.
Wow.
I learned last week that apparently reasonable doubt doesn't mean the same thing to all people. But, yeah, I have great reasonable doubt that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to lose 3 games at home in a row to start a season.
They may.
I struggle to believe that.
You never know.
And even let's just say they did, you're going to be back to, I would say you're 7-6 at worst. That's starting 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
You're 7-6 at worst going into Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
There's
so you're 7-6, and then what?
I'm talking. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah, but worst case scenario. Okay,
everything
you're 7-6 coming
on
out of that game, and then if you're 7-6, I don't like you beating the Bengals, Seahawks, or the Ravens at that point.
Well, okay. Now think about what you just said. So you're playing the Colts going into that. They're not good. Cincinnati could have everything that's possible for them locked up by that time. Am I saying that's likely? No, but it's possible. Seattle plays in a dog water division that I don't know exactly how much you're going to have to play for there either. And then you play Baltimore last week of the season. If Lamar Jackson's gotten hurt, which he has how many years in a row now, and you're playing Tyler Huntley, yeah, it's.
But then you're right back to where you were, right? That you're right back to where you were this past season, where you have the losing record. We're all talking about it. Is this going to be the first losing record? And then you roll off 3 wins and end up 9-7, and yay!
Yeah, and for me, that is the absolute worst case scenario, and I think something would have to go seriously wrong for it to happen.
Well, very well could be the case. Getting Alex Highsmith, though, sewing him up for the next 4 years, definitely is a good move on this part. I mean, this is what good teams do. They find a guy that does what they can do, does everything they ask him to, and then they reward that. Knock, knock, Dallas Cowboys. You should probably do the same with Zack Martin.
Correct.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. When we come back, we'll get weird. And then Jeremy has found his new favorite former New England Patriot.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again today, I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 26 westbound west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 240 westbound delays between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, volume is busy but moving well. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road, some delays. Hendersonville Road moving well. On the Charlotte Highway, no problems reported. Checking the drive time from West Asheville to Biltmore Village via Meadow Road. Drive time 12 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's is always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 7/6 through 7/26 while supplies last.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT for just $199. Plus, get up to 20% off select James Hardy siding. Shop in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Metabo HPT offer valid 7/6 through 7/26. James Hardy offer valid 7/13 through 7/19. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Foo Fighters,
Fall Out Boy,
Kelly Clarkson,
Kane Brown,
Lil Wayne,
Lenny Kravitz,
Miguel,
Public Enemy,
Sheryl Crow,
Travis Scott,
Tim McGraw,
TLC,
30 Seconds to Mars.
Get your tickets now.
Our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
AXS.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Ingalls Markets and iHeartRadio Asheville have declared July Public Safety Appreciation Month. Throughout the month, we'll be recognizing our hard-working public safety officers from Asheville, Waynesville, Weaverville, Canton, and the Sheriff's Department of Haywood County and Buncombe County. Our good friends at Ingalls Markets will be providing a one-time lunch for all, and we'll be making an appearance at each department as well to thank them for their hard work in keeping us safe. July is Public Safety Appreciation Month with Ingalls Markets and iHeartRadio Asheville.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Welcome back into the Ingalls studio on ESPN Asheville. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And today's weird story comes to us, or mine anyway, comes to us from Helena, Montana, where there was a family, mother, and her two sons hanging out at the house. Now, here's the special story here. This woman, she has cancer. And her son, one of her sons, 20 years old, had just been sent home from the Navy because his mother is sick. He's been sent home to spend some time with her while she's going through her treatments. Her other son is 18 years old, and he is leaving for basic training with the Navy on his 18th birthday. So he's not 18 just yet. He's about to turn 18. So you got 20-year-old son, 18-year-old son, almost 18-year-old son. Both of them going into the military or already in the military, and they're home. Haven't seen each other in a while, so they do the thing that brothers do.
Fight.
Well, they do that.
I don't have
but you make stupid wagers with your siblings, right? So they're hanging out, they're having a good time, and they were playing the game. They had challenged each other. We're going to stay up as late as we can tonight. And, of course, the first one to fall asleep is going to get, Sharpie on his face or something stupid. Well, it was very, very lucky that they decided to play this game on this particular night because come 4 o'clock in the morning, one of them started to smell smoke. and they got a little alerted. They go outside of their home, and they look, and the neighbor's house is on fire. So these two, one going into the Navy and one already a seaman, I guess is what we call them, they busted into the 70-year-old man's house, brought him to safety with 3 fire extinguishers, apparently. These guys go in fully armed to fight the fire as best they can to save their 70-year-old neighbor. He is in the hospital. He is listed in critical condition because he did have some injuries. I guess he got burned a little bit in the fire. But these guys, they're already, one hadn't been in the Navy too long. The other one, not even in the Navy yet. They're already heroes. This was the heartwarming story of the day that I just could not ignore. First off, you're at home. The one who had to be shipped home to spend time with his ill mother. And then, lo and behold, the night you decide to play the hey, who can stay up the latest game, you saved a life next door. These guys are heroes, and we need to take our hats off to them.
My story is again about the airline industry, which seems to be having more issues by the day.
Just drive from now on.
No, don't just drive. We just need the airlines to get their shenanigans right. Delta Airlines flight yesterday left on the tarmac for 4 hours.
Ugh.
We've all been there. You get in the plane, runways, things are off kilter. The only problem about this flight is, yes, it was left on the tarmac for 4 hours. Yes, the temperature outside was 110 degrees, and there was no air conditioning in the plane.
Oh, God.
So people began passing out. A flight attendant was running around with oxygen tanks trying to help passengers, and some people took it upon themselves to go full shit-duty in their pants.
Oh.
But for what? They don't explain why you would do that.
Why did you do that?
There's a bathroom in the plane. No, I'm not telling you to use it. Brady Quinn just told a story of he's got a 4-year-old kid that he put a diaper on of you are not making duties in there. That is not happening. I get it. But how do you leave somebody on the tarmac for that long?
I have no idea.
Especially with no air conditioning. Like, it's almost like each individual airline is trying to outdo each other, no pun intended, with what shenanigans can we pull to make us look more incompetent than we already did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I told that story to tell this story because this happened while I was on jury duty, and I made it my mission. I'm going to get this story on because it made me angry. This is from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hunter Parsons is a parent, a 17-year-old son who was flying from Gainesville to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He had a layover in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, the kid lives in Charlotte. And he was performing a thing that I have possibly done a few dozen times. We always called it hidden city ticketing. That was the term I had always heard.
Hidden city ticketing.
But now, apparently, as the kids do, there's a term for it, and it's called skip lagging. What that means is you book a flight with a layover in the city that you're trying to get to because it saves you monies.
Cheaper than a one-way ticket.
Correct. Well, it's not even that. It's cheaper than the ticket to the city you're trying to go to. There's not a ton of flights that go from Gainesville, Florida to Charlotte. There are more that go with the eventual destination being New York. So those are cheaper. It doesn't hurt anybody. Nobody gets hurt by this. Somebody, hopefully me, a lucky gent, has an open seat next to them. American Airlines. They've banned this kid from flying on their airline for 3 years.
Oh, my gosh. Any airline?
No, on American.
Oh, on American.
Because it's not technically illegal. But American, Frontier, Delta, and United all have policies in place that say, well, you can't do that. But for why? But for why can we not do that? Because there's nothing about this that is illegal. Nothing. There is nothing about this illegal. We outsmarted you and your stupid system. We found a way, and now you're closing the loophole.
Now, so they would still do this. So they like say I did this, all right? And so I'm flying it doesn't matter where. I'm flying to Dallas, and I got to fly through Atlanta to get there. But something happens in Atlanta. Maybe, I don't know, my buddy Keith, who lives in Atlanta, he calls me and says, I got an emergency. Can you help me out? And I have to leave and cancel my flight. They're not going to let me fly for 3 more years because I didn't take that extra flight that I'm staying in Atlanta for another day?
So you intended to get to Dallas. These people are not intending to get to the final destination.
Why didn't he just lie?
Well, he has a North Carolina driver's license. And apparently, when he showed that, they got curious. What does it matter?
It shouldn't matter.
That's my point. You're angry because we outsmarted you. There's been a website that talked about this for years.
See, at this point, if I don't take that other flight, if I stay in the city that I'm at and I don't take that other flight, you owe me a flight. I paid for a connecting flight. You owe me the second half of that.
Yeah.
I know that's not going to work.
I was about to say, I would love to hear you argue that because you're going to get laughed at aggressively.
No, but I'm saying to me that makes just as much sense.
I don't disagree with you.
Right. Like I'm saving you a seat on your airplane. I'm saving you fuel by not being there. Right?
I'm going to say the same thing about this as somebody that flies a lot. And at one time in my life flew a whole lot. This is the same thing I said once to my bank. My bank refused an employee of mine one time to deposit money into my bank account. They said they were not an authorized user, and so they could not deposit money into my account. Mm-hmm. To which I immediately went, oh, but forlorn, anybody that wants to put money in my account, you let them do it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if they have just used nefarious means to get this money. You let them put it in that account.
Somebody tries to come in here put money in my bank account, you better damn well let them.
And if I am booked on one of your flights and Captain Fat Arse that was going to sit beside me wants to get off in the connecting spot and not put his behind in the tight confinement next to me, you let them do it.
Makes just as much sense to me.
I have been sitting on that for a week. Just let them do it. It's fine. You're making $1 bajillion.
Yeah.
You will sell that same flight for 1/10 of the price within 6 hours of the flight happening. Ask me how I know. I've seen me do it.
There's not a chance in hell that I would do that. I would sit on a tarmac for 4 hours. 2 hours in, I'm baking in this tube on a tarmac. I'm saying stuff to get me kicked out of that plane. Like, okay, I'm gonna start threatening people.
All right, so I'm gonna. It's funny you said it that way because before I got put on a jury, I had a lot of people tell me that there were certain things that I should say to get kicked off the jury.
Yeah, just disqualify yourself.
Yep. A, you don't get the chance, even if you wanted to. B, they know everything about you well before you would be given the opportunity to do that, and I'm pretty sure that's why, because they know. 100%. They know. Like, okay, let's say your full name, where you live, and where you work. What stupid thing would you like to impart now, juror number 14? Got anything sarcastic to say, Puddin' Pants?
Would you like to announce it to all of the courtroom?
Yeah, would you like to look at your surrounding jurors and come up with whatever little stupid thing you just came up with to say? Now, that was the first thing to what you just said.
Yeah.
I have seen a federal air marshal remove somebody from a flight probably half a dozen times in my life.
Really? That's a lot. Yeah. Of course you did. You have flown a lot.
I probably flew 5 times a week for 4 years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I've seen that. And now what you don't see is where they go when they get off the flight. But I can tell you, it doesn't look like they're going to sit down with a cup of coffee like they do in Law and Order and maybe talk about what we were doing
talk
here.
About this, guys?
This is one of those that I feel like you're handcuffed to like a pipe in the basement of the airline and maybe beaten with something until you tell them why you just did what you just did.
It was hot. I was uncomfortable. How do you feel now?
Yeah. How you feel now?
We're going to send you to Gitmo now. Are you happy?
Am I free to go? Do you feel free to go?
Sure, you're free to go. Can you gnaw through your arm?
Yeah. We're going to give you a nail file that we took off someone else, and you're going to have to cut your hand off. There you go.
We're going to leave you right here for now. Steve, the janitor, will be by in about 8 hours.
He's got the key.
He'll let you out.
He's going to ask you 3 riddles, and you have to know the answer to all 3, or you have to hang out another night.
I don't see how you do that. That's cruel and unusual punishment, and that it absolutely needs to be a lawsuit, and I guarantee you it will be.
Well, you know what? When I fight for judicial reform, I will fight for airline reform too. Mullet Mayor 26.
This is the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville. Take a quick break, and then yes, we will reveal for you Jeremy's new revelation when it comes to one of his most hated teams.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slowing west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. In Henderson County, Chimney Rock Road near South Mills Gap Road, congestion. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 17 minutes. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's is always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 7/6 through 7/26 while supplies last.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT for just $199. Plus, get up to 20% off select James Hardy siding. Shop in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Metabo HPT offer valid 7/6 through 7/26. James Hardy offer valid 7/13 through 7/19. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
The original Tough Man contest hits the ring at Silverado's in Black Mountain July 28th and 29th. See the toughest fighters go toe-to-toe in live action. Tickets are $20 in advance and $30 the day of the show. The original Tough Man competition, July 28th and 29th at Silverado's in Black Mountain. Ringside and VIP tickets are available. Get yours now at silveradoswnc.com. silveradoswnc.com.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Back in the Eagles studio with Flostradamus, Jeremy Green, the New York Jet fan, the New England Patriot hater,
the fighter of justice and all things judicial and airline. It's 2 hills I'm gonna die on, Marv. It's 2 hills I'm gonna die on.
Flostradamus has found his now officially the greatest former Patriot of all time. I mean, other than Darrelle Revis, who played for your team.
He doesn't count. He didn't play in New England. I was drunk that entire year. I've forgotten it.
I've forgotten all of that. Asante Samuel. And no, this is not because Asante Samuel cost them a Super Bowl, although that doesn't hurt things.
He was already pretty high on the list.
He was pretty high on the list. He was the one that dropped that interception in the Super Bowl right before the David Tyree catch with the New York Giants. But he has gone on the All Things Covered podcast owned by CBS Sports, and he was asked the question about Bill Belichick that pretty much everybody gets asked about Bill Belichick, and he had a surprising answer. Here you go.
Is he the best coach in NFL history? Absolutely not.
But what?
Are you crazy? Why not? Well, look at his record without Tom. You got to win without Tom. So you telling me? One thing I learned about being great, you got to be great in different situations. It was all Tom. I was there. I saw it. It was Tom.
It was Tom. Everybody knows it was Tom. That was the next part of that.
But for wait, did a former New England Patriot great say something that I have said many a time?
He did.
Huh. Well, you know, isn't that weird?
He was a 500 coach before Tom Brady. He's been a 500 coach since Tom Brady. His teams are 25-25 and have not won a playoff game.
And by the way, that's not a shot. It's never been a shot. New England Patriot fans get their undergarments in a tussle when you say this. I could say the same thing about Don Shula. You know, if he hadn't had Johnny Unitas, Bob Greasy, and Dan Marino, he probably wouldn't have been as good as he was either. You find me a great coach that had some bum playing quarterback, I'll listen. I've never found one. But if you have one, then we can possibly hear that. We could possibly listen to that.
Mm-hmm. Asante Samuel saying the thing that Jeremy has been saying for a few years now. And it just feels good to hear your own words come back to you from somebody who should know. Now, I get Patriots fans will say,
you're just a hater.
Well, no, about Asante Samuel, I've seen this. Well, he didn't leave on the best of terms. He's always hated Bill. Most of the players hated Bill. They won a lot because of Tom and some of their opinions, obviously. But they put up with Bill while they were winning. It's kind of the argument that we've been making for the last few years about the New England Patriots. Nobody wants to go play there because Bill ain't winning, and he's still as big a jerk as he was when they were winning.
Danny Fence fan said the Baltimore Ravens, they won with Joe Falco.
Who was elite that year.
He was elite that year. And Trent Dilfer. You're right. Brian Billick is a greater coach than Bill Belichick. Let's go. He also had the greatest defense of all time, which it'd feel like, maybe we're undervaluing that.
Right.
And Bill Buttigieg, our resident New England Patriots fan, in the chat said Breece Hall's been placed on the pup list because, he's trying to goad me since we were talking about the great one, old Bill. Yeah, here's the thing. Practically every injured player goes on the pup list to start training camp. That wasn't unforeseen. Just saying.
Hey, at least you got rid of Denzel Mims stuff.
Dilly.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again, today I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slowing west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. In Henderson County, Chimney Rock Road near South Mills Gap Road, congestion. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 17 minutes. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by ComparionInsurance.com.
Like to shop local? Go to ComparionInsurance.com. Their agents are local insurance experts finding you the right insurance at the right price from national carriers. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents. Expert advice.
Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earned doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Careless debris burning is the leading cause of wildfires in North Carolina. Before you burn, take a look at the weather and avoid burning on dry, windy days. Never leave your fire unattended. You are the best defense against wildfires. Learn more at ncforestservice.gov.
From the Eagles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. Big day for the Jets. Rookies and veterans reporting for training camp. Expectations sky high this season for New York after acquiring quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And the four-time NFL MVP's made it clear he came to the Jets to win and win now. ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini.
He's taken complete ownership. He knows that he's got to get these guys all on the same page. It's his offense, and he's trying to get everyone on board. So, if there's pressure, I haven't seen it. Of course, it's only July, so we're not going to see it this early. But I think he's all into this, and he's got something to prove to the Packers and probably the rest of the NFL as well.
Rich Cimini on ESPN Radio Mornings. ESPN Adam Schefter is reporting six-time Pro Bowl guard and team captain Zack Martin's considering not reporting to Cowboys training camp. Unhappy with his contract, believes he's woefully underpaid.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from your friends at ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Green, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Eagles Supermarkets.
It is the Sportsocracy, and we are live in the Eagles studio here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400 as well for those out in Haywood County. And, of course, you can take us with you everywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app. Also watch us live in the Eagles studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat each and every day, and you too, like Bill Buttigieg, can try to get Jeremy's goat with his 2023 NFL champion New York Jets. I was with you on Denver. I could repeat that with Denver. I can't do it with New York just yet.
You should.
I gotta see how you start.
I'm also really curious why I have a goat. What do I use the goat for?
To mow your lawn.
That is the only acceptable answer.
Indeed. And to get rid of all of your tin cans. We welcome you all into the program. If you're just joining us for the ride home, we will not be with you tomorrow. Just programming note here. There is a Braves game tomorrow, so we will have the day off and then rejoin you on Friday. Don't forget the links to the Ultimate Draft Fantasy Experience are in the description of the YouTube video. Still plenty of time to get in on that contest. what we decided that we were going to be drawing for this like first week of August.
August 15th.
All right, so August 15th. So you got a few weeks still to get into it, just a little under a month still to get in on the contest, but it is the full red carpet treatment for you and your fantasy football league. We will stream the draft live. We will have, we will have commentators for the draft as well. I'll be playing commissioner. Jeremy will be playing that role. The Dudes Take podcast guys are going to be there as well. I'm sure there will be several members of our House of Reprehensibles that will show up to have a good time with us on that as well.
We're just going to have a big old party. It's going to be a fun time. It'll basically be like my wedding was without the vows.
Yes!
And probably considerably more alcohol. Yeah.
Hard to be more.
I said what I said.
It's hard to be more alcohol.
I said what I said.
Top of the third hour of the program here. It is time for the daily draft. We've been doing fantasy football related drafts all week long, and that will continue today. We've done guys that we're higher on, guys to avoid, and now it's sleeper time. So, Jeremy, you define a sleeper as somebody you can get around the 10th round or later.
That is the we'll say the soft explanation.
The soft explanation. Okay.
There's sometimes that a guy could be higher than that, but not by much.
Exactly. So first pick today belongs to me. You had first pick yesterday.
You had first pick yesterday, but that's fine because you're not going to. Yeah, you did, but you're not going to take who I'm taking. So.
Oh, that's right. I did have first pick yesterday.
I have at it. It's fine.
You did what?
I said have at it. It's fine.
Oh,
you're not taking who I'm taking. I promise you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, my first pick on sleepers fantasy football this year, Treylon Burks is my number one. The addition of DeAndre Hopkins to the Tennessee Titans, I think will open things up for him. You said when we first talked about this deal, Jeremy, that you didn't think it moved the needle for the Tennessee Titans. I think it does. I still believe Ryan Tannehill still has gas left in the tank.
I don't know how much he had to begin with, and I certainly don't think he has much more left in him now.
He didn't have a great year last year, but he didn't have anybody to throw to last year. Now you got DeAndre Hopkins as the one, Treylon Burks with a year under his belt. He's the two. And then you have Chig Okonkwo. I guess Chig Okonkwo he's a popular one, and I'm sure Tight End Whisperer may be bringing his name up at some point. But Treylon Burks is my one.
Well, I wasn't going to do this early,
but I'm gonna.
I'm gonna because now you've kind of forced my hand. Yeah, my number one there would be Chig Okonkwo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm moving my order here because I don't really think you're taking any of the guys I'm planning on taking. I might get burned in this, but we shall see. When you say Treylon Burks, explain to me how that happens. All right, DeAndre Hopkins is the no doubt one.
Yep.
So to me, to withstand two outside receivers, somebody is going to have to not be as good as we think. I'm leading you into this.
Derrick Henry.
That is not the name I thought you were going to say.
Right? I mean, wouldn't it stand to believe? Wouldn't you believe that if this team added this wide receiver, they're going to be more balanced than they have been?
I don't know that those two things have anything to do with each other.
Okay.
And that's really not what I was talking about. Where I was headed with that is I don't personally see how DeAndre Hopkins can be as good as you seemed to think he would be when we talked about this the day he signed.
Okay.
I don't see how those two things can happen at the same time. I mean, do you honestly think that the Tennessee Titans passing offense can withstand two legit receivers? Because I don't.
I mean, It hasn't been, but it could be, I guess.
So where I'm going with that is, for me, it's an either or.
Okay.
You either won't touch DeAndre Hopkins or you won't touch Treylon Burks.
Well, DeAndre is probably one that I'm not going to be touching for fantasy purposes.
No matter where you can get him.
I mean, it'd have to be real late, and he's just not going to be. He won't hang around long enough. Because I'll never be asked. I'll never be given the situation where, all right, here's DeAndre Hopkins and here's Treylon Burks. Pick one. You'll just never reach that point in a draft.
No, you
and I'm
certainly
always
will
going to
not
skew
get
to the
that
younger
point.
guy. Always going to skew to the younger guy.
You will certainly not get to that point. I look at Chig Okonkwo and go tight end. As we talked about yesterday, once you get to a certain point, it falls off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I think Okonkwo is a top 12 tight end in this league as we sit right now.
Okay.
I could easily see a path he's in the top 6 to 8 going into next year.
And what is that?
That's how good I think he is.
Well, what is his ceiling? What does his stat line look like? Does he get to 700 yards?
Oh, I could easily see him getting that. I mean, he barely played in the big first half of the season, and he got to 32 catches, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns last year. I would say I think his floor is probably that 700 you're talking about.
That's the floor.
That's the floor.
Yikes.
Look, this team's going to be behind. They're not very good. The defense is not very good. And he's the safer of the – look how many tight ends that Tennessee has made fantasy relevant over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Jonnu Smith, who Okonkwo reminds me of. I just see a path that he's the second leading receiver on this team.
I don't know how bad that defense is. I mean, we felt that way last year, right? But they were a decent defense last year. And now you're getting Harold Landry back? I mean, that's going to mean something.
The back half is still awful. Genuinely awful.
Yeah. But they added Sean Murphy-Bunting, and you get another year of development with those guys. I mean, they're not the worst
development doesn't really matter if they don't ever play. I mean, Caleb Farley, he could develop all you want him to. I've never seen him on a field. At this point, he's the NFL's equivalent of the Sasquatch.
No, but you got Christian Fulton, and there's another one I'm missing. They've got another corner.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
He's a young guy. McCreary.
Oh, Roger McCreary.
They drafted Roger McCreary 2 years ago. So all of these guys are young. It's not going to be terrible. You're going to be better than you were, I think.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Okay.
Because the offensive line is genuinely awful. So you're not going to be able to run to the level that you have in the past. And I think they're going to be behind a lot. And I could see Okonkwo getting I could see him having a number of receptions that would shock you.
Okay.
I think we're saying the same thing. We're just seeing it out of different
We're just seeing it out
receivers.
out of different positions. I can't remember. I can't really remember what Tennessee looks like with a dominant tight end. Like it's
Jonnu Smith was pretty good.
That was 3 years ago, and even in his best season, I don't think he ever got to 700 yards. Like the best he ever had was 5-something, 6 maybe.
I don't remember off the top of my head, and he's not on my list.
Right, I don't know. I'm just. I think you might be a little too high on Chig. Not that he's going to be bad or anything. And maybe not giving Treylon enough credit.
Now look, I liked Treylon coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get to a path where they have 2 legit receivers that are fantasy relevant.
Right.
I can see him being a fine player and probably never being fantasy relevant. That's how I should have said that from the beginning.
All right.
My next one he really challenges what is considered a sleeper because currently he's being drafted like right on that 10th round line. It's Khalil Herbert. I don't know why this is a struggle for people to understand. Deontay Foreman is the ham sandwich of NFL running backs. When you're hungry, it will sustain you. how many running backs in the NFL that hit even any level of qualifying carries average more yards per carry than Khalil Herbert last year? Oh, you want to hear the list again?
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, because there's not one. Breece Hall's the only one that was even in the ballpark of him. This is a guy that they drafted, they're invested in. They brought in Deontay Foreman to be the second back. And yet somehow Khalil Herbert's falling this far.
Because I guess you look at Chicago and you think immediately it's all Justin Fields. Justin Fields is going to be the guy. If they believed in Herbert, they wouldn't have brought in Deontay Foreman. I don't know. I'm not of that opinion, so I'm just trying to work through my head what your rationale could be.
Yeah, I mean, they let David Montgomery walk right out the door, and he missed, I want to say Montgomery missed 3 games last year. If not, it was 2.
No, one of my favorite rookies.
And he finished 20th.
One of my favorite rookies this year was Roschon Johnson. Because I think he's going to carve out a role
I do too.
With this team pretty quickly.
I think Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert are the 2 running backs you want for Chicago. Deontay Foreman's role never changes no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just the ancillary second back. Now, he might catch some goal line work, but I don't think he's all that good, and I never have.
Okay. My second pick in today's sleeper draft, Samaje Perine. And I know that's going to sound weird. I should have known you were going
to do that.
I know that's going to sound weird because I've never been a fan. First off, I've never been a real fan of Samaje Perine, but he does have a particular set of skills that I believe that the new coach there in Denver, what's his name? Oh, yeah, Sean Payton, that he's going to be able to get something out of. Like, I mean, I'm looking at this team and I'm going, is Samaje Perine just a bargain value Alvin Kamara? Does he play that role in the Sean Payton offense? I understand Javonte caught passes when he was in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something he's really been asked to do at the NFL level. Samaje, that's practically all he does. He's not a bad runner. He's a pretty good pass catcher out of the backfield. And I could see Samaje having a better season than Javonte, despite the fact that Javonte's ranked higher.
Look, Samaje Perine was on my list. I'm not going to lie.
Interesting.
Danny Finn's fan in our YouTube comment said, Jeremy, this is the second year you believing in Khalil Herbert. You do realize that he didn't eclipse 100 carries last year? He finished 1 spot behind Jonathan Taylor in fantasy football. Yeah, it's my second year of believing, and it's the second year I'll be right. I'm not to be glib about it, but there's no way he winds up with less touches than he had last year. He was playable last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way about Samaje Perine. I don't remember where he finished. He was in that same neighborhood, especially if you play PPR.
Yeah.
Because he caught a lot of in PPR. Taylor was 33, Perine was 34, and Khalil Herbert falls down to 41 because he does not catch a lot of passes. That's what Deontay Foreman was brought in to do.
Mm-hmm. Samaje Perine going to the Denver Broncos. Again, not a great team, but it's also kind of a hallmark of the Sean Payton offense, is dumping off to running backs.
And if Javonte Williams, for whatever reason, was not right, Samaje Perine would be a top 24 running back in the NFL.
And that's very well how he could start the season. Javonte may not be there for the first few weeks. So not only would you get the benefit of the PPR catches and stuff from Samaje later in the season, but he could begin the season as one of the top running backs in fantasy football with some good performances. My third pick in fantasy sleepers is going to come after the break right here on ESPN Asheville because, I get to do that now. Take the break, come back. I'll give you my third pick after Treylon Burks and Samaje Perine. So far, the sleepers for Jeremy, Chigakonkwo, and Khalil Herbert.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Johns Cove Road and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the French Broad River. 26 eastbound very busy between the French Broad River and Airport Road. In Fairview, an accident on the Charlotte Highway near Old Charlotte Highway causing heavy delays. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound and Long Shoals Road slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by ComparionInsurance.com.
Like to shop local? Go to ComparionInsurance.com. Their agents are local insurance experts finding you the right insurance at the right price from national carriers. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents. Expert advice.
Foo Fighters,
Fall Out Boy,
Kelly Clarkson,
Kane Brown,
Lil Wayne,
Lenny Kravitz,
Miguel,
Public Enemy,
Sheryl Crow,
Travis Scott,
Tim McGraw,
TLC,
30 Seconds to Mars.
Get your tickets now.
Our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
AXS.com.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Dr. Conrad, after all night in the lab, I've cracked the formula for black titanium.
Go on.
It's the luxury of black, the power of titanium, the best odds at $300 and a top prize of $4 million, all in this scratch-off.
This is going to be big.
So, am I getting a raise?
Let's see. New black titanium from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zack with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
This is Gene Decaro, voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fire them cannons. By golly, put more powder in those things.
It is ESPN Asheville. We are live in the Eagles studio. Check us out everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Take us with you everywhere you go. It is the Daily Draft. Today we're focusing on fantasy sleepers for 2023. My third selection is a rookie. It's Jordan Addison. I've heard nothing but Minnesota Vikings slander from Jeremy Green for the last week. And I guess it's going to continue, but it's just one of those that it baffles me. I don't see how you think this team's just going to go completely into the ground.
Because they're the luckiest team in the history of the NFL, not even kind of close. And they have been trying to tell you all offseason long that they don't believe in this and they're trying to reset it. Which is why basically every veteran that wasn't glued to the ground has been shipped out of this place. Their secondary is horrendous. Now, that's them as an NFL football team. And it's ironic that you just did that because I have no qualm with what you just said.
Okay.
I can't take who you just said over the two I'm getting ready to say, which is Jonathan Mingo and Romeo Dubs.
Romeo Dubs.
Young receivers on teams that I think are going to be behind are a great way to use later round picks. We're affiliates of the Carolina Panthers, correct?
Correct.
Have you heard a negative yet about Jonathan Mingo?
No.
Yeah, neither have I. That's weird. Even in conversations that are off the record. Yeah, I hadn't heard one. Not nary a one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I've heard routinely? Hey, you were real right on this Mingo kid because he is a dog.
He absolutely is. I told you the other day, not on the air, but off the air, that I feel like we're going to get to a point probably quicker than people think in this season where Jonathan Mingo's the one in Carolina.
And he's on the fringe of being drafted or not. If you live by the Jeremy Green philosophy, which is you should never draft a kicker ever, and if your commissioner makes you quit. But we have kickers. I don't care. I won't play one. Play one if it gets close. We get to Sunday Night Football and I'm down by 5. I'll go pick one up.
Right.
Till I need one. I'm good. Jonathan Mingo is a guy that I fully believe I am going to be heavily invested in. Romeo Dubs, on the other hand, has been Jordan Love's favorite weapon.
Okay.
So people talk about Watson. People talk about Jaden Reed, who I really like, but he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You saw this last year with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
You always value the receiver that a quarterback has developed a rapport with. And that receiver for me in Green Bay is Romeo Dubs.
Okay.
Now, and everything I've said negative about Minnesota from a NFL standpoint, that doesn't have squirt to do with them as fantasy options.
Oh, good, because I thought you had lost your mind for a second. Because I get that their defense is not good, but their offense is still going to be high-powered enough to keep up.
Yeah, when in doubt, draft a receiver on a team with a horrific offense.
No doubt.
Because they're behind all the time.
But see, this is why I can't. This is why, given the option, I'm sitting here 8th round or something, and I've got these 3 guys to choose from, Addison, Mingo, or Dubs. I'm going with the one that's got the quarterback. That's why I would take him ahead of the 2 that you just said, because he actually has a quarterback that I've seen be good, really good in this league for a long time. And guess what he needs? Somebody to throw the damn ball to. Because I don't think that KJ Osborne is going to eat up those 107 targets that Adam Thielen got last year.
I would agree.
I don't think all of them are going to go to Jordan Addison, but the lion's share of those will be going to Jordan Addison.
The thing that scares me is that he does not run a prolific route tree early.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I care in Minnesota because it's a different offense, but it could be a slow start. My problem with guys like Jordan Addison is that I feel like they start slow, and then you need a kicker or whatever the case may be. And, well, he's been awful. And that guy just gets cut. And then somebody like me sits back and goes, you didn't wait long enough.
I have nothing negative to say about Romeo Dubs other than I hate his quarterback. And I'm staying away from that altogether. Unless it's a running back that says Green Bay next to it, it will not be on any of my fantasy teams. Because I don't believe in Jordan Love. I don't think Christian Watson is as good as everybody has played him out to be, at least not yet in his career.
Very safe.
And Romeo Dubs is right along with him. Got a lot of
Christian
talent.
Watson is very safe because they manufacture a lot of his touches.
Okay. All right, that brings me to my 4th selection of the fantasy sleepers for 2023. And this is a guy that I've talked a lot of smack about as well. But I also feel like the situation this year for his team may be a little bit different. And he's actually got a chance to be relevant this year, and it's Alec Pierce. Wasn't a big fan of his coming out of Cincinnati, but some of the things that I saw him do on the field last year, some of the separation, some of the burner stuff I saw him do last year with terrible quarterback play. I mean, he's not going to have the greatest of quarterback play this year, but for what he does, I love it. Anthony Richardson, for all of his faults, he can sling it a ton. And Alec Pierce is the deep threat on that team. So there's a chance that Alec Pierce, he may be your late round flyer that ends up saving you a couple of times.
He could.
And my final pick is one that I will never let go. I will hold on to him
Oh,
for
please
everything
God,
he's worth.
Please God, don't say Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Nope, not DPJ. It's the other one, Antonio Gibson. All right, now hear me out here. All right, hear me out.
This should be good.
All I'm saying is you got a new quarterback in town. You got a new offensive coordinator in town, especially. And in the Eric Bieniemy offense, running backs that catch passes, they do a lot of damage. Anybody remember Jerick McKinnon last year in Kansas City? How about Darrell Williams the year before? Both those dudes had right at or over 50 catches for those 2 seasons. That's what Antonio Gibson does. Brian Robinson ain't getting the passing work. And neither is Chris Rodriguez, who they just drafted. It's all going to be on Antonio Gibson. And I feel like now that there's a sane person in in that coaching staff, his name is Eric Bieniemy, and he's going to look at Ron Rivera and go, "Shut up and let me handle it. This guy's way better than that Brian Robinson kid."
I feel like it's about time for us to have a Tank Spencer, Antonio Gibson intervention.
Never.
Because you have lost your mind on him. How many times? I'm almost to the point of like I'm your sorority sister that you keep coming to me going, David hurt me again. How many times do you go and do that? See, you're enabling it, Becky. And I don't know how much more forcefully I have to tell you to stop doing that. Yet, here we are.
Nope. Not going to do it.
So I have already said that I fully plan on taking quarterbacks early.
Yep.
I cannot believe you have allowed this individual to get here, but you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's Anthony Richardson. For fantasy football, he will be the backup quarterback on just a whole slew of my football teams. Just a whole slew of them. Because he's so safe.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think his floor is Justin Fields. Now, I can't draft him to be my starter because I don't know that he's going to start week 1. He has been horrific at times in camp. But there's going to come a time in Indianapolis that they go, I don't care how bad he is.
Right.
He's got to get on a field because we got to see what we got. And when that happens, I am immediately going to downgrade Jonathan Taylor a lot. I will Michael Pittman will become completely irrelevant to me for fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Richardson will be, I think, safe because he's going to run a lot. And he's a gigantic kid. So I like him as a backup. Never know when you're going to need one of those. One of my favorite stacks is to go Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, and just sit back and go, well, I'm taken care of there.
Nice.
If you had to pick another player, who would it be?
Devin A-Chain.
I hate when you do things like that.
Was that who you were going to say?
I thought I could just save him. Instead, no.
No, sir. No, sir. Because he's one of those that I have. I mentioned Roschon Johnson earlier as the rookie that could have a role. Devin A-Chain is above him on my list because I don't believe in Raheem Mostert. I don't believe in Jeff Wilson. I don't know what they're going to do in Miami, but I know neither of those guys is a long-term solution, and it could very well end up that both those guys are hurt by week 2, and it's the Devin A-Chain show.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with anything you just said, which is why that's the whole reason I asked you that question was so that I could take that particular player. And so now I have to spitball off the top of my head because that was the last name on the list.
I'm sorry. We should have counted. We should have counted, and then we both could have said it.
You know what? I'm going to go deep dive. Zach Evans.
That is deep dive. I like that.
Yep. Let me make, especially if you're in a rookie draft, let me make that make sense. Cam Akers is not good at football anymore. I think he touched a Space Jam ball, and now he is Jeremy Green in an NFL uniform in talent and stature and all of those things.
But he was good at the end of the year last year.
No, he was not good. He was serviceable at best, and he fell in the end zone one time. that made it look
everybody
like,
know it. Tom,
like he was better than he was. That scared the jeebers out of me. Like I almost urinated on camera.
I think I did.
The Rams are terrible. You were told Kyron Williams would be whatever last year. Well, he's not good at football.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Evans is good at football. He's a head case, and that's been proven by basically his entire collegiate career. But I could see a path in the second half of the year that they go, you know what, the Cam Akers thing isn't working. Let's see what we have in Zach Evans. And I actually kind of feel that way about a lot of young guys with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Long, the tight end they got from the Dolphins, he's in the same boat.
Yep.
Tyler Higbee, you're not good. Hey, let's see what that kid we got in the Jalen Ramsey deal. Let's see what he can do.
There you have it, your sleepers for 2023 in fantasy football. Of course, all of your fantasy tips and more will be coming your way over the coming weeks here in the Sportsocracy. We also still have opportunities for you for just under a month still left for you to get in on the ultimate fantasy draft weekend excursion experience, whatever we're calling this thing. It is all the links to the contest are in the description of the YouTube video. You can also find it on all of our social medias as well. We will host your fantasy draft, give you and your crew the red carpet treatment. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
It's going to be very sweet. It'll also be streamed on YouTube. And during this commercial break, I'm going to go change my pants and hope that I left a pair of shorts in my gym bag in the back of my car.
You're in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again, today I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Shuns Cove Road and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slows near Brevard Road. Again, 26 eastbound slowing between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. In the Fairview area, an accident Charlotte Highway near Old Charlotte Highway, now in the clearing stages. Sweeten Creek Road southbound between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. I'm Lyman Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa is on a mission to keep you in motion. With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, the Napa Network has everything you need to get up and go.
It's the 9th Highland Night Flight, Asheville's favorite twilight race at Highland Brewing Company, Saturday night, July 22nd at 7:30. Come and run or walk this 4.5-mile race in East Asheville amidst the cheering neighbors of Beverly Hills and Gashes Creek. We'll finish in the meadow of Highland Brewing for the post-race party. All proceeds benefit the Greenway Development through Connect Buncombe. The race is capped at 500 runners and filling fast, so don't wait to register. Go to highlandbrewing.com. highlandbrewing.com. Proudly sponsored by iHeartMedia Asheville.
It's bow time. The Bojangles made-from-scratch biscuit is so good, we gave it a sidekick. That's just as never frozen, just as fluffy, just as delicious. We call them the Buttermilk Beauties. Get 2 sausage and egg biscuits for just $5. It's bow time.
Are you hungry for the inside scoop of women's soccer? I'm Sam Mewis. And I'm Lynn Williams. And we're professional soccer players, best friends, and the hosts of Snacks, the only women's soccer podcast hosted by active players that gets into the most recent news, gossip, and fun of the NWSL, the women's national team, and the delightful, delicious world of snacks. It's a weekly show that features great guests from the world of women's soccer, recaps and previews of the biggest matches, and the two of us hanging out with you. You can listen to Snacks on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The original Tough Man contest hits the ring at Silverado's in Black Mountain July 28th and 29th. See the toughest fighters go toe-to-toe in live action. Tickets are $20 in advance and $30 the day of the show. The original Tough Man competition, July 28th and 29th at Silverado's in Black Mountain. Ringside and VIP tickets are available. Get yours now at silveradoswnc.com. silveradoswnc.com.
Tired of getting dinged?
by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, and it's time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
Don't do crimes. Ooh, you know what? Let's go to a story that we've all been hearing quite a bit about in the sports news cycle. It's the Northwestern hazing thing that cost Pat Fitzgerald his job.
Here's my question. How did they not know that before they we're going to suspend him for 2 weeks of off-season camp? Did you investigate this at all? Did you talk to anybody?
I don't know. I don't know how this escalated so quickly. I mean, it went from, I guess it was just the advertisement, or it finally got the news media talking about the accusations that were made and delving deeper into it, and then more start coming out of the woodworks, right? We hear this all the time, and harassment and assault cases and things. Like, you get one person to open up and finally stand up and say, this is wrong, this happened to me, and then you get more that follow and go, this happened to me as well. And now it's gone into, what was the story today? There are 15 different athletes from Northwestern that have hired a Chicago law firm to represent them in a lawsuit against Pat Fitzgerald and members of the administration. And all right, I don't want to get too deep into the court case and what happened and all of this. The only thing I wanted to bring up about this is in this sense of don't do crimes. I didn't know this, but Illinois has an anti-hazing law on the books. Not many states have those. So out of this, we could also see criminal charges come for not only those who did the hazing in this case, but we could also see criminal charges for Pat Fitzgerald. We could see some of the coaching staff, some of the administrators, depending on how much they can prove and how good of a case they can build. A DA there in Illinois could very well file criminal charges, because not only is it the people who did the hazing, but if you're a school official and you knew about it, and they can prove you knew about it and didn't report it, that's a crime as well. Punishable by up to a year in prison. Do I expect any of these people to go to jail? Not necessarily. We know how these sports stories go, right? Sports guys get in trouble. You could face time in jail, but there will be a deal somewhere that gets you out of that. But this could be a lot bigger story here come pretty soon. We could be looking from at least taking this into a criminal case.
Speaking of criminal cases, my story is about possibly the most mysterious criminal case of the last 30 years. And it appears that we're getting closer to an answer to who killed Tupac Shakur.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Carol Baskins again.
Oh, no. There's no shrouded mystery there. She did that.
No, wait, I thought they found him.
But nobody's seen him.
Oh, it was just.
Oh, yeah, he's alive and well. Where is he? He's in the bathroom.
We don't
Can
know.
we see him?
Nuh-uh.
Yesterday, a search warrant was served on a home in Henderson, Nevada, in connection with the Tupac Shakur case. We now know who that home belongs to. Dwayne Keith Davis. If you've watched any of the documentaries about this or anything of the like, you would know that one Dwayne Keith Davis is someone that claims he was in the car with the shooter that shot Tupac Shakur in 1996 after a Mike Tyson boxing match.
Okay.
Here is the other part of Mr. Davis. He is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, who has long thought to be the trigger man in this case. Now, he was killed in a gang shootout a year and a half after it happened. There's long been a thought that that's the reason we didn't know what happened, is because they knew, the authorities knew who did it. He had passed away. There was no one to serve justice on.
So it's not worth pursuing to prove in court.
It is a little odd that you're serving a warrant now in 2023, and not only did you serve a warrant, it was a come out with your hands up and empty warrant.
Oh, wow.
According to neighbors.
Wow.
So we may be finding out finally what happened here 30 years later.
Well, I mean, also that could be tied to other things that this guy had dealings with.
Well, this is the Henderson County Sheriff or the Henderson authorities said this is linked to the Tupac Shakur case.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is they could have gone there, and the reason that they made him do that is because, well, he may be a known gang member, or they know he's armed, or whatever.
There's another thing.
I don't know anything about the guy, so I'm just guessing.
There is another thing that you just should tuck away in your hat, and has been reported in every AP story. Nevada does not have a statute of limitations.
Oh.
So there is no statute of limitations on when somebody can be charged with a homicide.
I just feel like...
Now, they might just be saying that to cover their the old CYA. Who knows?
I feel like proving a case this late in the game, good luck. Good luck to you. Because I don't know what evidence could still exist. I mean, unless maybe he's got the gun.
Well, I mean, we all know how I feel about the judicial system. So, my faith is wavering at best.
I mean, I don't know.
Here's what I can say.
Is that a keepsake? Is that something that you keep? No. You don't keep things like that.
I would think not. Here's what I will tell you as somebody that, again, was embraced into the judicial system for a week. Be really nice to the cops, you know. They work really hard, and things don't always go, I'm not going to say correctly, because I don't. They work, the men and women of law enforcement work very, very diligently to make sure that justice is served. That is what I will say.
There you go. That's well said by you.
So be nice to your cop friends, and be nice if you just see a cop.
And once again, don't do crimes. It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, another episode of the Off-Season Files. We'll talk about the Minnesota Vikings, that team that Jeremy just loves to bash lately.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slows west of Airport Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slowing between the French Broad River and Airport Road. In the Fairview area, Charlotte Highway near Old Charlotte Highway. Earlier accident now clearing. Residual delays remain. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound at Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's is always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, save $50 when you buy the Tank 6-gallon pancake air compressor from Metabo HPT. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 7/6 through 7/26 while supplies last.
Millions of kids in America depend on the meals they get at school. When school's out for the summer, many of those meals disappear. Kids and teens can get free meals right in their neighborhoods, provided by local schools and community groups. To find the nearest meal site for your children, just text the word food to 304-304 or go online to nokidhungry.org/help. No questions asked or registration required. This service is made possible by No Kid Hungry.
Get your tickets now
at AXS.com
for our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
September 22nd and 23rd.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Having the time of your life is more rewarding than ever when you visit any MGM Rewards destination nationwide. Dine, stay, play, and earn on all of it. Details at MGMRewards.com. Subject to earning and redemption limitations applicable to certain purchases and in certain states.
Hold up, you're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would Mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mopping bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop. The all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
At Ingalls, we're all in for summer. We have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
I believe real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
It is the Sportsocracy, and we are in the Ingalls studio, and off-season files continue. The Minnesota Vikings. It's been an interesting off-season for them. They have gotten rid of a couple of players off of last year's team. Obviously, Dalvin Cook is no longer with them. Dalvin Tomlinson has gone off the defense. Eric Kendricks is no longer there. Patrick Peterson has gone to Pittsburgh.
There's been a lot of talk about Danielle Hunter.
Mm-hmm. But you did make some additions. They did make some additions. So, I mean, Marcus Davenport. I know you don't like him, but I think he's okay.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, especially if Danielle Hunter sticks around, then I like Marcus as a second option off the edge. Byron Murphy. And then I guess I'm done after that.
Can you name me the two outside corners for this team?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's going to be some combination of a Caleb Evans, Andrew Booth, and Mekhi Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
That's three guys that are within their first 2 years in the league, which tells and Harrison Smith, who is got 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel.
He's 50 years old by now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this team going, you better hope to God you can get after a quarterback. Because if you give one time, they're going to absolutely annihilate you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've always liked the line. I don't think Christian Darrisaw gets his due. I've always liked Brian O'Neill better than the rest of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the interior of the line is fine. My problem is I don't think Alexander Mattison is a starting running back in this league. I think he is one of these backs that we have seen time after time after time after time. He's a great spell guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's great when he has to come in for 2 or 3 games. But if you notice, anytime he had to fill in for Dalvin Cook, started great, and then it waned.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that. And I feel like this team has been trying to tell you, we know there is a limit on how good we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're trying to make the roster younger and get guys that are here for the long term. And I get that. You're the luckiest team in NFL history. That's not an opinion. That's a literal fact. No team ever won more one-score games than you did.
Right.
And I don't see how it's going to happen again.
I don't.
Now, I'm not sitting here telling you Minnesota's going to go 2-15. I just don't think they're very good.
I think they are good offensively. Defensively, it's not.
I think
good.
they're fine.
Really?
Offensively?
I mean, they're going to continue to sling it a ton.
And that's what scares me, is that now I look at this offense and go, you have one receiver that legit scares me. I know you like T.J. Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
I told you this yesterday. If you take his fantasy output last year, you can boil half of it down into 2 games. He's good for that. That's what he does. But as I'm looking at this schedule, it's as evil as you will see out of the NFC. All right, you start against Tampa Bay. That's at home. That should be a win. You should be 1-0.
Yeah.
From there, you go to Philadelphia, the Chargers, at the Panthers, Kansas City, at the Bears, San Francisco, at Green Bay, at Atlanta, New Orleans, at Denver, Chicago. You could genuinely be 2-10, and it wouldn't shock me at all. At all. Especially if the horseshoe that was buried conveniently in your tuchus falls out. Oh, and then your last 5 after the very late bye week, you got 2 with Detroit at Cincinnati. Yeah, you go to Vegas and you play Green Bay in your place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, you're low side. If I'm doing the same thing I did with Pittsburgh and go worst case scenario, it's 5-12. I mean, you could be 4-13, 5-12, and I don't think that's that untoward. Now, on the high side, how good can you actually be?
9 wins. I think you can get to 9.
All right. I'm going to go name that turnstile. You tell me how that happens.
All right. I got the
Tampa
Bucks,
Bay.
the
All right,
Panthers.
I'll give Tampa Bay.
The Panthers.
Kirk Cousins outside on the road against a team that flat out I just think is better than you are.
It's October. I'm not worried about him being outside.
It's never mattered, just so you know. It's not a cold weather thing. It's he's horrifically bad outside.
Just period outside.
Since he left Washington, he has been horrific outside of domes. By comparison.
Right.
And I'm not saying he turns into Baker Mayfield.
Right.
But
No, I mean, you can go to Carolina. You can win that game. I feel like you can beat the Bears. You beat
twice.
the Packers.
You think you can beat them twice?
Maybe.
I'm
not out of the realm of possibility.
I'm looking at that defense going, Justin Fields may actually run for 400 yards on you. But, okay, I'll give him I said high sides.
Mm-hmm. As you said, the Falcons.
In
the
Atlanta.
Broncos.
In Denver.
Mm-hmm. The Vegas Raiders.
In Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 7 right now, just to be clear.
Well, I mean, pick up the Saints. You might get one against the Lions last week of the season. I don't know.
Also in Detroit.
You could squeeze out 9 wins.
So you got to 9. You got to 7, and then you really started reaching. And of the 7 you said, 5 of them are on the road. Good luck with that. So you're literally going to be, 2-7 at home and 5-3 on the road. Yeah, that math don't math for me in any way. This was, and I told you this when the schedule got released. Minnesota was one of the teams I wanted to see because I had seen the teams on the schedule, and I went, there is a possibility that this ends up just purely evil. Because even those games that you're talking about winning, look what happens on the other side of them. You said Tampa Bay, you got to go to Philadelphia the next week. Carolina, you're coming off Philadelphia and the Chargers.
And
You got
you gotta go
Kansas City the next week.
Yeah.
Chicago, Kansas City the previous week, San Francisco the following. You're going to get one in Atlanta. Okay, you had to go to Green Bay and then take on New Orleans on each side of that. There's one stretch of the schedule that's not purely evil. Vegas after the bye week, okay, you get that one. I continuously look at Minnesota and go, you're in that 5, 6, 7 win tier. And no matter how many times I do this, how many times I get new eyes on it, how many different times I look at the schedule, I come to the same solution every single time.
5-7. That's
5 to
your window.
7. 5 to 7. And that's with you having a little bit of luck. Because, frankly, I don't think you're better than the Bears. I could see them beating you twice. Because I'm looking at an undisciplined young defense coming up against probably the fastest quarterback in the league, not named Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And now he has legit, honest-to-God weapons. I don't like that.
I don't think they're going to fall off a cliff. As far as there are some that have said that they're going to be in that 3 to 5 win range, and I don't see that. You're too talented for that.
I don't get that low because you got Justin Jefferson. So you still, at the end of the day, have a fail-safe of when in doubt, find that dude.
I'll be honest with you. I've always been a fan of Kirk Cousins. I remember the year that they were drafted to Washington. RG3 went first, and then they drafted Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. And I looked at it, and I believe I said it on the air. Kirk Cousins is going to have a better career in this league than RG3. Probably the smartest thing I've ever said, but I was right. And ever since, Kirk Cousins has been the guy that everybody wants to trash like he's nothing every year. And I'll tell you this. Go watch the quarterback documentary. If you don't have a new respect for Kirk Cousins and what he goes through year in and game out and still performs the way he performs, I can't help you. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We'll be back with you on Friday. Braves game tomorrow, so enjoy the day off. No, we will, and we'll be back at 3 Friday afternoon here in the Eagles studio.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Again, today, I've been tracking the bigger storms over in Tennessee and to the west of us, but we get glazed by some of these downpours moving from northwest to southeast across western North Carolina tonight. Temperatures in the mid-60s where they do occur can dump some half-inch plus rains. Thunderstorm chances stay high Thursday for Asheville, high 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 26 westbound approaching Long Shoals Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slowing between the French Broad River to approaching Airport Road. In Henderson County, Chimney Rock Road near South Mills Gap Road, an accident. The shoulder is closed. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound delays between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway near the North Carolina Arboretum. Check of the drive time from Mills River to Hendersonville via NC 191 southbound, drive time 15 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for your next job? Express can help. Express Employment Professionals has put more than 10 million people to work in the last 40 years in all types of industries. With competitive pay and no fee to help you find a job, what are you waiting for? Visit ExpressPros.com today.
From the Eagles Studios